And good evening, everybody, and welcome to Darling Stadium for tonight's contest between the 11-0 Hampton Crabbers and the 9-2 Phoebus Phantoms. This is a rematch of a game played earlier in the season when Hampton won 33-22, giving the Phoebus Phantoms one of their two defeats. Now, last Friday night, Hampton beat Booker T. Washington handily 47-12 here at Darling Stadium, while Phoebus avenged one of their two losses, a 70-34 victory over Woodside. Phoebus tonight, of course, will be looking to avenge that second defeat as they take on the Hampton Crabbers in the Eastern Regional Championship game, and we're just moments away from the start of that game. Right now, let's go down to the sideline as Bob has head coach Bill D. of the Phoebus Phantoms.
Bill, congratulations. I know this is one of your goals to get to the regional playoffs and to the finals, and then, of course, you got a couple more games you would like to play. Your team has done real well. I'm just really impressed with the offensive line, the way they block and open holes up for Elon.
Well, yeah, that group has really come together. They were a young group early in the year, and now they're starting to gel, which, you know, this time of year they should be. Coach Narver does a great job with the offensive line, and all the kids have just given great effort all year, and you don't get here without great effort from your kids.
Right, and you know, and they got to play together, and they got to be on the same page. And you look on the other side of the ball, your defense led by Friday, and those kids you got at linebackers just been doing a fantastic job too.
Yeah, everybody's, you know, has given effort all year. Now, we haven't always, you know, played maybe as well as we'd always like to, but, you know, we've had, you know, a great season. I've seen improvement all season, and I'm really happy with the kids.
Well, isn't that one of the things that the coach looks forward to see improvement each game, to see the kids that are learning and buying into your system?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you should be improving this time of the year if the kids are working hard and doing the things you ask them to do, and the kids have done that.
All right, now this is not the first time you played Hampton this year. It seems like you're running into them at least twice a year.
Yeah.
You going to think anything different, do you think?
I don't know. You know, I mean, you know, Mike always comes up with a wrinkle now and then. You know, he's been around a long time, so you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess probably be pretty much basically the same things, but I expect them to have a couple wrinkles, and I know they're going to try to do the best they can, just like we are.
Well, it's going to be a good game, and we look forward to it, and good luck tonight, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, let's go back up to Tim.
All right, thank you, Bob, and congratulations to Bill D. Another terrific season, win, lose, or draw tonight. The Phoebus Phantoms again doing well for themselves, 9-2. As I mentioned, that one loss to Woodside, 14-13 earlier in the season. They put on 70 points last Friday night in the 70-34 victory over Woodside. Now, Hampton on the other side struggled at first with Booker T. Washington. And matter of fact, they turned the ball over uncharacteristically for Hampton more often than we've seen them do in the past. So they struggled a little bit at the early part of the game, but came on strong and eventually pulled away easily to beat Booker T. Washington 47-12. Let's go back down to the field right now. Bob has head coach Mike Smith of the Hampton Crabbers.
Thanks, Tim. Mike, first of all, congratulations. 10-0 in the regular season. You won last week, so you're 11-0. You got to be proud of these young men.
Well, we're very proud of them. You know, they've worked hard this year, and it's a good group of kids.
You know, one thing I notice about your kids, no smash talk, none of this stuff. They just get out there and they just do the job. They bring their talking on the field, and that's got to reflect to the coaches.
Well, I don't think our team's ever been a team that, you know, go out there and run their mouth a lot.
Right.
They're disciplined, and that's part of playing football. You know, you got to have some respect for the sport, and it's kind of like life. And if there's not some redeeming qualities in football, then it would be useless to play it. And I think the kids understand that, and they have enough respect for football and their opponents to not go out and do that.
Well, that's a good reflection on the coaching staff, because you guys bring this and you're teaching them all the time anyway. And the kids seem to be getting better each game, and that's what you want to do when you get into the playoffs.
Well, you certainly hope so. You know, if football's a game, you're not going to play the same. You're either going to get worse or get better. And you certainly don't want to get worse. You're never going to remain the same. So hopefully we're going to play a little better.
Okay.
Well, I'll play better.
Well, listen, this is a little different than last year. You weren't here. You had the gallbladder operation and everything, and
right.
We're glad to have you back, Mike. We really are.
Well,
and I know you are.
I'm very happy to be back. It was one of those situations. I didn't know how bad it was until it was over with, but, you know, you reflect back on it after it happened, and it certainly gives you puts the things a little bit more in perspective. You know, you want to win. If you don't, you know the sun's still shining, and you know, we're just like them. We come out here expect we're going to win this ball game, and I'm sure Phoebus does too. they've got a fine football team. So, but just glad to be able to compete.
Well, we're glad to have you here.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
Well, listen, good luck tonight, and we hope to see you later on in the week.
Well, thank you.
Good enough. Well, let's go back up to Tim.
All right, thank you, Bob. And again, congratulations to Mike Smith. Another superb season, regular season, and one game into the postseason with a victory already. Looking for the opportunity to advance to the state semifinals, which will be held next Saturday afternoon. The victor between these two teams will be representing the Peninsula District, or at least the Eastern Region, for Division 5. Tonight's game is brought to you by Zooms, with 14 convenient Peninsula locations to serve you. And it's brought to you in part by Park Lawn Wood Funeral Home, where Nancy Staten is the manager. All right, well, Bob has rejoined me here in the booth. And, Bob, we purposely didn't talk a lot about the teams per se, because I think, first of all, the fans know a lot about them. But let's break that down a little bit. We've got some great offenses and defenses on both sides of the ball tonight.
Well, first of all, you look at Phoebus, and their number one go-to guy is Elon Lewis. The man has just been phenomenal his whole tenure over here at Phoebus, and you got to stop him. And I don't know that if any team, Tim, can stop him, you may be able to slow him down, and I'm sure that's what the Crabbers are going to try to do tonight. And Ward, the quarterback, Aaron Ward, is not a bad passer, but he doesn't pass that much. Why pass it when you can give the ball to a guy that can get 300 and 400, not 400, but 200 and 300 yards a game?
Averages over 200 yards a game.
Yeah. So, you got that kind of a go-to guy. You're not going to pass the ball that much. So, I think the Phantoms have a great offensive unit. Their offensive line, as Bill said in the interview, has gotten better and better. They were very young at the beginning of the season.
Well, and I think really when it comes down to comparing these two teams, both have superb running attacks.
Absolutely.
Tracy McPherson has done a phenomenal job. I think it's going to come down to the quarterback.
Well, I think so too. And you look at the two quarterbacks. One's a junior, one's a sophomore, and they're both excellent with the pass. And I think if you're going to give an edge to running, you got to go to Tyrod Taylor. He seems to be maybe a little bit better runner than Aaron is. But we've seen Aaron break some on a as a matter of fact, a quarterback sneak that went about 50 yards.
Sure.
So he's no slouch when it comes to running either. But the passing game might be the difference in tonight's contest. I think Phoebus is going to take the ball and run off a series of plays and try to run off the clock and score. I think Hampton can score quicker than what Phoebus can.
Well, and that's what it comes down to. When I'm talking about the quarterbacks being the difference, first of all, they both run their teams very well.
Yes, they do.
They're excellent field generals. Tyrod Taylor's just had a phenomenal season. He has twice as many yards as Aaron Ward does passing. He has twice as many touchdowns. I mean, he's just been phenomenal. So you can't really just key on Tracy McPherson, because Tyrod Taylor will kill you with Todd Nolan going down long or short. Nolan averages 27 yards per catch.
Yeah, but and if you double team at Todd Nolan and you stop McPherson, you got to watch out for the fullback Harvey, who not can only run the ball but is a great pass receiver in his own right.
Right. Now,
but Phoebus has got a good tight end in Matt Wright that does a good job. So they all have people that will step up and do the job.
Well, and I think what it'll really come down to, because both of these teams against other teams have showed exemplary defense.
Yeah.
When they've played each other, 33-22 is not exactly a defensive struggle. So it's really going to come down, when I say the difference of quarterbacks, is how well the defenses work against the offenses. I mean, this is kind of obvious, but the point is, the only way I see Phoebus winning the game is if they can control Tyrod Taylor and minimize Tracy McPherson.
Well, it all comes down to the line of scrimmage, Tim. Who's going to be able to control the line of scrimmage? If my defense can control your offensive line of scrimmage, then we're going to beat you. And if my offense can beat your defensive line on the line of scrimmage, and we're going to open up the holes and we're going to do what we want to do. So, it comes to those unsung guys that play the line that we don't talk much about but do a great job.
Well, we're going to see a terrific game. This is what we wait for all season long.
You got that.
Is for this matchup in the Eastern Regional Championship game between the Phoebus Phantoms and the Hampton Crabbers. It should be a good one.
It really will be a good one. But, we got one more plus up here tonight. We got Nancy Staten, who's a manager at Park Lawn Wood. We got her husband up here tonight. He is keeping control of the booth. He ain't going to let anybody, Ronnie, B.R. Staten, is not going to let anybody mess around up here in the booth. So we're very fortunate tonight.
At least. Great game coming up. Stay tuned for the kickoff in front of a full house at Darling Stadium. The two teams are on the field, and you can see the red and white clad Hampton Crabbers getting set to come across to the middle of the field where the officials will have the pregame ceremony. Bob, we are going to have a full house tonight. The crowd is still filing in at both ends of the stadium.
Yeah.
And the gates were open at 6 o'clock. You and I were talking about it. I got here an hour and a half before the game and could not get my usual spot.
I got here a little before that and got my usual spot, so I was very fortunate.
And you see a good look at the crowd. That is the far side. That's the Phoebus side.
They got one end is open. They're still waiting for the band to show up. I don't know what happened to them. I see them getting out of the bus now, so they're here.
All right, let's go down to the center of the field for the pregame ceremonies with referee James Orr.
All right, now I want everybody together in so they can hear this, okay? Red, I want you to talk to Red all night. White, Gold, I want you to talk to Gold all night. Hit him hard as you want to hit him. If you want to help him up. If you don't want you to help him up, get away from him and let it get up. I don't want nobody to pull it on the foul, okay? So you take this back to your sidelines when you go back, all right? We're going to back out. We're going to flip this coin. You're going to call it, and it comes down, and you won the toss, correct? You elect to receive. You put your backs this way. You elect to kick it this way.
I never did. We're going to get it right now. I was looking for it earlier, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Hampton Crabbers have won the toss.
Okay, guys, let's go.
All right, you heard the referee James Orr tell you Hampton won the toss and will receive. There is no wind factor at all this evening. The game time temperature in the low to mid 40s, Bob. Yeah. It is crisp out there.
Crisp, but good football weather.
It's ideal. Of course, the only thing that's a little bit of a downside is the field is still suffering from that torrential rain we had a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, that was terrible. Tim, we will pick a player of the game for both of these teams tonight, and that player will receive a shirt. It comes from Tidewater Team Sports, your one-stop sports headquarters for screen printing, embroidering, uniforms, and apparel. Call 594-0411 and talk to David Chubb or Terry McNamara, and we do appreciate all the help of the Tidewater Team Sports helping us recognize a player of the game. There you see the officials.
Officials, James Orr is your referee. James Duke is your umpire. Mike Lowenberg is the head linesman. Tyrone Goodman is the line judge. The field judge is Tim Russell. Mel Plummer is the back judge. And Craig Bird is your side judge. This is a Southeastern Football Association group here at a all-Peninsula Regional Championship game.
Zooms has given an award to the senior player in each one of the teams this year who has demonstrated academic excellence. These players will be awarded a plaque at a school board meeting after the season. We'd like to thank David Allen and Zooms for their continued support to WHCS and our student athletes.
All right, the Crabbers will receive the kickoff. Back for the Crabbers will be number 2, Jacoby Fenner, and along with number 8, Tracy McPherson, two lethal runners.
Yeah, they really are, and we got a good kickoff man for the Phantoms, and that's Chris Schwartz. Kicking from the near sideline. I mean,
Corey Hayes actually kicked off.
Oh, he sure did.
It's fumbled and finally controlled at the 18-yard line. The return will be out to about the 25, where the Hampton Crabbers will have it 1st and 10. Here is the starting lineup for the Hampton Crabbers on offense.
Sean McNeil, Jr.
Dominic White, Senior.
Tim Richardson, Jr. Herbert Broughton, Senior.
Brandon Vines, Senior.
Raphael McDonald, Jr.
Todd Nolan, Senior.
Stacy Johnson, Sophomore.
Ernest Harvey, Senior. Tracy McPherson, Senior. Tyrod Taylor, Sophomore.
All right, the Hampton Crabbers from their 25-yard line. This is Taylor keeping on the quarterback keeper, and he will be going out of bounds at around the 29-yard line. That'll be a gain of 4 yards on the play. And here are the starting lineup for the Phoebus Phantoms on defense.
B.J. Brown, Senior.
Maurice Hampton, Sophomore.
Steve Friday, Senior.
Kobe Walker, Jr.
Matt Wright, Jr.
Stephon Moss, Senior.
Donovan Anderson, Senior.
Devontae Lindsay, Senior.
Nathan Robinson, Jr.
Brent Vincent, Jr.
Reggie Norwood, Senior.
On the delayed handoff to Tracy McPherson, he is going to get out about to the 33, 34 yard line. It's going to be just short of the first down, Bob.
And I'm very surprised what happened that time, and I'm sure Mike Smith is trying to shake up the Phantoms on defense, but he went back into the shotgun. I'm so excited here. And then handed the ball off to McPherson, trying to spread the defense out a little bit and make them think pass. And now you got a 3rd and short.
3rd down and about 1.5 yards to go. They need to get to the 35-yard line, actually to cross the 35. Taylor gives to McPherson. He's got the first down as he's tripped up at the 39-yard line, but more than enough for first down as the Hampton Crabbers get their initial first down of the ball game. 12-minute quarters in high school football for those of you who may not be totally familiar with the rules. Other than that, the rules are pretty similar to those of college football.
Well, that time it was just a trap play over the right side. And, of course, if you're going to run the Crabbers, you want to run to the right because you're going to run over Dominic White and Brandon Vines. Those are the guard and the tackle on that side.
39-yard line, first down. Tyrod Taylor, straight running play again, and he's got a first down and then some as he's into Phoebus territory at the 44-yard line.
That was there was no doubt about that play after it was snapped. He just went over the left side, had Tracy McPherson in front of him as you watch him on the blocking for him that time. Nice block by McPherson.
Terrific block.
Picked up the linebacker on that side.
Again, Tyrod Taylor, just a sophomore, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't watched him this year, well, shame on you, first of all. But secondly, you'll have 2 more years to watch him play for the Hampton Crabbers. First down at the Phoebus 43.
We talked a little bit about his running prowess during the pregame.
Right. From the shotgun, the shuffle pass to McPherson. And a nice move by McPherson to evade a tackler. He's still on his feet all the way down to the 25-yard line, first down.
Reminiscence of last week when he made that little move down here about the 12, 13-yard line.
That play worked to perfection for the Crabbers right there. Watch this replay. You're going to see this doesn't work any better than this. Everybody comes in, and he just shuffles it. No one near McPherson. Then he does a terrific job. Got a great block from his lineman 64, Sean McNeil. Great job on the camera work, ladies and gentlemen. First down. Hampton Crabbers moving from the kickoff down to the 26-yard line. This is Taylor again. Taylor calling his own number. 10-yard line, 5. Did he get in? No. They say went out of bounds at the 3.
And we want to welcome back Susan Bowers, who was sick last week. We had her back on the camera. What a nice run by Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor just tearing up the biggest problem they have is you can account for the quarterback, but it's hard to account for him to do such a great job running the football. And you see, stepped out of the 3. Great call by the side judge there.
Sure did a great job. I'll talk about a crew when I get a chance, but
first and goal.
Surprising to the Phantoms. They haven't seen Tyrod run the ball that much.
First and goal at the Phoebus 3-yard line. We've played a little more than 2 minutes, and Hampton has just marched down the field. Taylor again calls his own number, and he is in for the score. Yep. Taylor just engineering a perfect drive.
And they started, from about the 24?
Started at the 24-yard line. You're exactly right.
Talk about a crew tonight. On cameras, we have watched the replay. Nathaniel Braxton, Susan Bowers, Ron Baton, and Rachel Barnes. On the crane camera, we have Monique Bird and Mike Nowinski. Graphics, Andy Foley. He does also animation, slow motion, Andre Mattingly. Camera control, Sarah Myers. Production assistant, Susan Higgs. Audio and chief engineer, Don Scharouse. And big guy, Scotty Bowers, is a director-producer.
Ty knows extra point try is long enough, and it is good. So the Hampton Crabbers take the opening kickoff and march down the field. Virtually no resistance. I have to tell you, I think Hampton's got a potent offense, but boy, they just tore up the Phoebus defense.
And tonight, look at the crowd, Tim. But one of the things that I like about what Mike did is he just made a little wrinkle, a little change. Instead of giving the ball to McPherson, who, as a defensive player, you got to stop, and nobody is watching Tyrod. And he picked up, I don't know how many yards he picked up on that 76-yard run plays that they did, that yardage, but
drive.
I'll get it. Let me have another sip here
of your of your diet cola.
Yeah, I
there.
got some grape here.
I'll check with our crack statistician team here to find out just how many yards Taylor had running. Of course, that took just 2 minutes and 27 seconds. 7 plays, 76 yards. Tyrod Taylor had how many yards, you guys?
4 carries, 48 yards.
4 carries for 48 yards.
Yeah,
so the 76 yards, he had 48 of them.
Wow.
Taken at the 13-yard line. That was 87, Desmond Barnes.
Covering the kick for the Phoebus Mountains, number 27, Dennis Mathis. Mathis covered the kick in his own.
Is that Mathis 27? Not
Mathis
87,
is the one to
27.
run it. Yeah, watch this. Come back, and he gets hit right there by one of the crabbers, and then he didn't want to go down. But then there was a little extracurricular activity at the end there, but the no flag, no harm, no foul.
All right, so the Phantoms will likewise start from the 24-yard line. And if you're a Phoebus fan, you'd like to see a mirrored drive to that that the Hampton Crabbers just engineered. Ward, flare pass near side. 30, 34-yard line, very close to a first down.
And there's another little wrinkle. Come out. What are we going to do? We're not going to give the ball to Elon right off the bat. We're going to pass it, do a little wide flanker screen.
Brent Vincent. Little fake on the handoff. And Brent Vincent picks up a first down as they get out to the 35-yard line, a gain of 11.
He was tackled by one of the young men from Hampton. I don't have his number, do I? Number 1, it looked like.
That would be Tony Adams if it was number 1.
Yeah.
Aaron Ward hands it off to number 38, Elon Lewis.
A little bit of pushing and shoving going on. Fortunately for both teams, the whistle hadn't blown yet.
On the stop initially for the Crabbers.
Is that Lewis carrying for the first time?
Killen had mentioned in the up here when we were talking earlier that he thought that if Phoebus had a chance to win, that they're going to have to turn Ward loose, let him pass a little bit more. So maybe that's one of the wrinkles that Bill D will do.
Gain of 4 on that play. Second down and 6 for the Phantoms. 8:40 left here in the first period. Hampton 7, Phoebus nothing. Elon Lewis carries close to a first down.
I think he's going to spot it just short of the 45. Oh, right at the 45 now.
It is right at the 45, and that'll be so close they'll have to bring out the chains because, well, quite frankly, it looks like a first down. It is a first down by about an inch.
Well, when he first spotted it, the far official had it. He was spotted on the other side of the 45, and then they placed the ball right on the 45. Nice job that time by Lewis following his blockers.
Oh, he does a great job of doing that. We'll give you the starting lineups for offense and defense here in just a moment. But another first down for the Phantoms. Aaron Ward under center to Lewis. And Lewis will bull his way for about 3 yards. Lewis just shy of the 48-yard line on the carry.
Tackled by number 62, Tim Richardson.
There you see the scoreboard, 7-0 Hampton.
Somebody's hurt down there. Looks like it's Lewis,
Is
Tim.
it Lewis?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, does that take everyone on the Phoebus side taking their collective breath, because that is the Phoebus offense right there.
Let's go ahead and do the offense for the Phantoms.
Is that what we're going to do?
I think that's what he said.
He said one of them. He didn't say which one. All right. Phoebus offensive starters. Here they are.
Great time.
Sylvester Hicks, senior.
Robert Oates, junior.
Travis Washington, junior.
Thomas Johnson, senior.
Andre Holloway, junior. Matt Wright, junior.
Brent Vincent, junior. Nathan Robinson, junior.
Stephon Moss, senior.
Elon Lewis, senior.
Aaron Ward, junior.
And that is Elon Lewis still down on the field.
Oh, I tell you, you hate to see that.
Well, you hate to see it
regardless of who you're pulling for.
But in this particular instance, this is the 2,000-yard man for the Phoebus Phantoms, and if he is unable to continue, that would truly disable their opportunities to advance. Let's go ahead now, if we can, and show you the starters for the Hampton Crabbers on defense.
Daniel Carroll, senior. Dominic White, senior.
Brian Alsink, senior.
Tim Richardson, junior.
Sam Green, senior.
Sharon Childress, junior. Ernest Harvey, senior.
Jacoby Fenner, sophomore.
Tony Adams, senior. Jeremy Kroon, senior. Todd Nolan, senior.
Tim, he's really favoring that left knee.
That is just terrible news.
Hardly any weight at all on him when he's walking off. And that's got to be just a black cloud hanging over the Phantom faithful here tonight. You can see him looking off, Tim. He hardly put any weight on that left knee.
We've seen so many times over his career here at Phoebus him get shaken up and just kind of bounce up and then come back strong, but that does not look well for the Phantoms. Let's see what they do now. This is Matt Wright on a screen to the near side. Ball comes loose. It is right at midfield. No indication of a change of possession at this point, but it looks like Phoebus still has the ball. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
Oh, that was a good shot that time of Matt Wright hanging on the ball because he had to grab it because down there was Dominic White was also saying that's a free ball. I'm going to get it. Watch this. Here comes White right there.
Yeah,
knocked the ball loose.
So the ball is right at midfield. The Phantoms 3rd and 5 need to cross the 45 of Hampton to keep this drive alive. Aaron Ward, play action, and he throws incomplete, just a little underthrown to Brent Vincent. Actually, it was either a little too tall for one receiver or a little short for Vincent.
I think it was for Stephon Moss. Number 5 is who the intended receiver was on that, but that'll bring up a punting situation.
Well, we'll keep an eye on the far sideline to see how Lewis.
It's too bad we don't have somebody over there to give us a report.
Back deep to receive for the Crappers will be number 9, Todd Nolan.
But a huge loss to the Phantoms if Elon Lewis is unable to continue in this ballgame. So the kicking team on for the Phantoms. That is Ward, the punter.
Yeah, and we got Nolan back deep.
Left-footed kicker. Kicking it away from Nolan. Nolan will field it at the 15-yard line. And Nolan will only get a couple of yards. At a good job on the special teams play
really
by
was.
the Phantoms.
Because sometimes when that ball is late picking up, you overrun the play. And if he could have got a couple blocks, he might have been able to go somewhere. But Hampton's going to have a long field in this drive.
Starting from their 17-yard line. And again, I look over to the far sideline to see if there's any possibility that Lewis is up and around, and I do not see him on the far sideline. I do see people around a player on the bench, so I'm going to make the assumption that is him.
I can't see through that, but that looks like what you're saying, that there's a player on the bench, and you'd have to assume that that's who it was.
So the Crabbers, leading 7-0, will have the ball from their 17-yard line.
And again, they're in that shotgun formation.
Taylor, again, the shuffle pass to McPherson. And McPherson, again, does a good job of faking out one defender and then gets out to about the 24.5, almost 25-yard line. There he is being attended. You see them looking on his left leg.
And I'm not sure if it's a knee or an ankle, Tim.
The Virginia Tech-bound Elon Lewis already signed a letter of intent, or at least a verbal agreement to attend Virginia Tech in the fall. Right now, he is not in the ball game and doesn't look like he'll be returning anytime soon. 24-yard line, rather. 2nd down and 3. Taylor on a straight running play. Gets to the corner. He's got the first down, and he steps out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. Took a little bit of a push after he was out of bounds.
Yeah, could have been a flag thrown there, but official didn't do it.
Could have been, and you know what? Sometimes the officials will throw a flag on a marginal play like that to control the game.
Yes, they will.
And in that case, I think it would not have been a bad idea to throw the flag.
Got a nice block from McPherson there.
He got out of bounds and then takes the push.
He got a little help after he got outside out of bounds.
31-yard line, 1st down again for the Crabbers. Again out of the shotgun. Got trips to the left side, and on the delayed handoff to McPherson, he lost his footing as he got set to cut. And Matt Wright, number 11, was right there to smother him for a loss. And that's what the Phantoms are going to have to do to have any chance to win this game. Is they're going to have to really tighten down on the defense and hope that Lewis can come back into the ballgame.
The first play tonight that the Crabbers have negative yardage. But you're right. He tried to make a cut because Matt Wright was there, and it's just got a little slippery. We talked about the field. It's not in as great a shape as it has been in after we had that deluge with Phoebus and Bethel.
Back to pass. Taylor over the middle, incomplete. This one was intended for, looked like number 10. That's Devin Branch. Of course, Todd Nolan is his favorite receiver, without question. Nolan coming into the game, 43 catches, 1,164 yards, 13 touchdowns, with an average per catch of 27.1 yards.
That ain't.
No, that's not too bad. Not too shabby.
That ain't shabby, baby.
They spread out the offense, double wides to the near side. Split backfield out of the gun. This is a flare to Nolan. And Nolan is dragged out of bounds. Let's see where they mark his forward progress. Right around the 39-yard line. It'll be...
well, it looks like, what, about 2 yards?
Yeah, it looks like about...
a little longer than that.
A little longer than 2 yards, shy of a first down. And it'll be fourth down. This is Nolan.
And that was, looked like... who was that?
Looked like Devontae Lindsay, number 9.
Number 9, one of the
riding him out of bounds.
Devon's, he plays that outside backer.
So the Crabbers now looking at a 4th down and 2 at their 39-yard line. And they would appear to be going for it. Of course, this would not be unusual to see them try the hard count, but by the same token, Phoebus has seen this before.
Yes, they have.
Let's see if they're going to actually run the play. And they got a phantom in the neutral zone. My gracious.
That's exactly what they wanted to do.
But can you believe that? With all the history of this, you knew they were going to try and do it, and you end up in that neutral zone nonetheless. Just over anxious to be sure to stop it, and the Crabbers will get a free first down out of it.
And that keeps the drive alive for the Crabbers.
How many times have we seen the hard count draw the defense off?
And we have seen it in games where it's worked 2 or 3 times.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's, what's that, fool me once? The 44-yard line, again out of the gun. The handoff on the delay to McPherson. And he'll get a couple of yards out to about the 48-yard line. Give him 4 yards on the play. Clock moving now, 4:50 remaining in the first period.
Completely different look having Tyrod Taylor in the shotgun rather than under center.
Well, I think that's very effective, and I'll tell you why. First of all, it gives you a better opportunity to look at all over the field. And Taylor's such an elusive runner that you don't want to, you got to get right on him.
Opens up that shuffle pass, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. 2nd down and about 6. Taylor to throw. Got it to Nolan at the 38. He's still loose. He may go. He's got some blocking. Look what a nice job of evading the block.
He will use those blockers. Whoa.
A 52-yard pass and run.
But the run after the pass.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it looked like Phoebus had a chance to tackle him. What a great job of following your blockers.
Watch this replay. This is how you draw it up.
Right there, he breaks that tackle.
Yeah, he's stopped right there. What a great job of following his blockers.
Just no way you're going to tackle him.
2:26 on the time.
So 4:15 remaining in the first quarter. Hampton has lengthened that lead out now to 13-0. Ty No to try the extra point long enough, and it is good. So the Phantoms defense unable to stop the Crabbers on 2 possessions. The Crabbers have gone right down the field. The big play this time, a 52-yard pass from Taylor to Nolan, as that potent Hampton offense is in high gear right now.
Well, they really are, and it was helped by a penalty to keep the drive alive. What a bad break for the Phantoms not being aware of that, and I'm sure they were, but you get down and you get in the heat of the game, Tim, and it's hard sometimes not to go on a count when you're ready to go.
83 yards, 8 plays, 226 is all it took. So the Phantoms will have an uphill battle in front of them now, down 2 touchdowns, and apparently not having the services of Elon Lewis, their premier running back, the most prolific running back in the Peninsula District, the state of Virginia, and probably a lot of states, as he had over 300 yards last week against Woodside. Taken by one of the up men.
It's number 2 that's got it for the Phantoms, Tim. That's Denathan
Robinson, and a late flag comes down as he was hit fairly far out of bounds. And I just wondered, I'm surprised they didn't throw one earlier on the Phantoms when they hit Taylor as he was out of bounds.
Yeah.
But I believe that will be the call. Let's see how they break this down for us. The Phantoms, we're going to have pretty good field position. Got a personal foul against the Crabbers.
Personal foul against the Hampton.
That'll move the ball out to midfield.
Right close to midfield.
It will be
personal foul.
And it will be marked at midfield.
First down.
So James Orr, the referee, tells us personal foul. Here's the replay to see if we can pick up the very end of this play and see why the personal foul was called. This is Robinson. He is well out of bounds and then takes a hit. Ward throwing it up deep for Brent Vinson, and that one was just overthrown. Kind of a Hail Mary, if you will.
Well, he says, I'm going to throw it as far as I can and see if you can't run under it. And he did get behind the secondary.
So that stops the clock with 4:02 left in the first period. Second down and 10 from midfield for the Phantoms. If you joined us late, the Hampton Crabbers took the opening kickoff and marched down the field with Tyrod Taylor finishing off the drive with a 3-yard run, and the extra point by Ty No was good at 9:33 of the first. And then the Hampton Crabbers took the next possession and went 52 yards with a, went 83 yards rather, with a 52-yard pass to Todd Nolan to make it 14-0.
Dennis.
That is Dennis Mathis.
He's a young man that backs up Elon, so he hasn't got a whole lot of work this year, but he's not a bad running back in his own right, but a nice job of pitching at the last minute by Ward.
And that'll move the chains again, something the Phantoms absolutely have to do. They've got to get some first downs, and they've got to get some points.
Well, they got to get some people to step up that normally don't, because you got to get a running back that's going to be able to do something.
You're not going to replace a 2,000-yard running back.
Yeah, you're not going to replace him, but you got to get somebody that can get some time. Right?
And that time they were ready for him. A nice defensive play for the Crabbers. That was number 42, Ernest Harvey, who does a super job on both ways for the Crabbers.
He's one of the linebackers on that Crabber thing, and see him shoot right there.
Someone did not pick him up on the block, clearly.
It looked like maybe lost a half a yard at the most.
So a second down and 11, let's call it, for the Phantoms, trailing 14-0. Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, Mike Hauser, and Bill Killen.
No, Bill's his brother.
That's right. This is Ward, and Ward will be sacked all the way back to the 45-yard line. Bob Killen, Bill Killen. Big Bob, Bill Killen. But we are here for the Eastern Region Championship contest between Hampton and Phoebus. This game videotaped on the 26th of November, 2004. Hope you and your family had the best of Thanksgivings, Bob. And
oh, yeah, we did. I hope you did, too. I hope the fans had a great Thanksgiving.
Well, this is we've been doing this for about 25 years now, and Thanksgiving always seems to be a little extra special when you've got a game like this on the card. This is a third down and 13 to go for the Phantoms. Play action fake, got a man open, completes the pass, but the defense is right there to smother the play, and that time it was Jacoby Fenner.
Yeah, and that was Moss that made the catch, but nowhere to go.
Just a 2-yard gain. A flag down on the play, however. So we'll see how they call this. It looks like it's going to be against the Phantoms, in which case I'm sure the Crabbers will decline it.
Have them go.
It's holding. Well, they might take it.
Yeah, because Tim, they'll take them all the way back to the 40 because it's a spot foul.
That's a good point. So it looks like the spot of the foul is midfield, and you take it 10 yards from there. Yes, in that case, you do not accept the
No,
play.
you take it back because now you got third and a mile.
Third and 30.
Third and 30.
Do you have one of those plays in your playbook? I'm not sure.
It's like the guy said, you're 150 yards from the pin. Pull out your 150-yard club. I said I would, but I don't know which one it is.
That's right. You never know until you swing, right? Uh-oh, got our first golf reference here.
They use more than golf. They told me. They got me covered. I don't know what they're doing, but
Ward setting up the screen near side, and it's off the hands of Brent Vincent again.
Wow.
Probably just as well as he didn't catch it, although they would have at least had a chance with it. Crabbers had that one fairly well defensed. And that'll bring up 4th down and 30 for the Phantoms.
You know, that could have been very well picked off because it stayed in the air a little bit.
So the kicking team is on. Aaron Ward, the quarterback, as we've mentioned previously, is also the punter.
He punts left-footed and throws right-handed. Now, that's unusual, isn't it?
Well, I throw left-handed and kick right-footed. So.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
You're kind of weird.
This one, though, will not get, well, that's true. This one gets great height, but not much distance. Phantoms hope for a little bit of a roll, and they get it to about the 42-yard line. So it went about 40 yards high and 40 yards down to the 42-yard line.
Yeah, it looked like one of Ronnie Staten's pitches. He hits the pitch 40 yards, 80 yards, 40 up and 40 down.
So from the 42-yard line, the Crabbers will be on offense again. The first 2 times they scored touchdowns. The Phantom defense is going to have to dig in and deny that this occasion if they want any chance to win this game. The winner of this contest will play in Richmond area next Saturday afternoon in the state semifinals.
Hopewell or Meadowbrook, isn't it?
Yeah, the site to be determined at this point. That is Taylor. Taylor carries for about 4, almost 5.
Okay, he is calling his number a lot tonight, or Mike is calling it for him. Watch this. Again, it's just and that was could have been a pitch. It could have been the option play because McPherson didn't come up the block, stayed behind him, and kind of trailed him for a pitch. But that young Taylor is showing some good moves running that ball tonight.
2nd down and 6 for the Crabbers as we are inside of a minute remaining in the first period. Taylor from the shotgun wants to throw. Throws, completes it to his favorite target, Nolan, and he's got a first down at the Phantom 35-yard line.
Boy, there's some zip on that pass that time, wasn't there?
We've seen that. I mean, this young Taylor, just a sophomore, just has got a great future ahead of this young man.
Wow. But the zip he put on that ball, I mean, is right on
Look
the
at that
number.
Perfect spiral. Great job from the crane shot.
Oh, we got who? That's Monique on the crane. Good job, Monique.
So it is first down at the 35-yard line of the Phantoms.
Oh, that was Rachel. I'm sorry. Rachel Barnes. Oh, don't be picking on Rachel.
From the gun. Taylor getting some pressure and is tripped up for a nice sack.
Oh,
good job that time.
Moss.
Number 5, Stephon Moss. And that's what the kind of play the Phantoms have got to have any chance of winning this ball game. So that will be the final play of the first period. Watch this replay. And Moss just did a great job of getting a hand on the ankle. And Taylor went down, one of the rare times this evening that Taylor has not picked up positive yardage. So after one.
And that was Stephen Friday right behind him.
If he didn't get him, Friday was hoping to.
Yes.
All right, after one, it's Hampton 14 and Phoebus nothing.
I got a little thing I want to do here, Tim. Back when last year when they were doing baseball and softball, they got talking about the Fox Hill fast pitch softball team, and they're talking about how great this shortstop was, and they misnamed that shortstop. The shortstop was Joey Lawrence. Yeah. I want to give some of the.
Who did they say it was?
They said it was Jesse Kersey, and Jesse played second base. First base was Ronnie Weber. Third base, Don Weingart. Catcher, Bud Porter. Pitcher, Ron Peterson. And then we had Don Brandt, Gary Osmondson, Trent Joyner, Fred Koner, Keith Goodson, Bruce Wright, and Mel Wren on the outfield. And then we had other pitchers.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I remember these guys. Bob Adderholt was
Tom Conard, Wes Ivy, Bobby Wills. Bobby Willis, Bill Breeden, Bill Goodwin, Bob Saunders, Wade Garrett, Doug Stroop, and the manager, of course, Jack Hall. You probably remember him. Rudy Forrest and Sam Winfrey were assistant managers. Phil Routon was a business manager.
Back to the live action, a pass completion to the 31-yard line. That one went to number 10 of the Crabbers, Devin Branch.
I want a couple more names. Their outfielder, John Stevenson, and then the official score, Buddy, passed away not too long ago, Buddy Brown. That's your Fox Hill fast pitch softball. We missed those guys.
First quarter stats, just for a couple of important issues. Taylor, 5 out of 6 for 105 yards passing, also rushed the ball 7 times for 46 yards. So Mr. Taylor amassing some fine statistics after one period, and he just added a nice gain on that last play. 3rd down and 6 to go. This is Taylor calling his own number again. He's got the first down inside the 20 to about the 17-yard line, and then thrown out way outside the play of field, and that will be a personal foul that no one could have missed.
No, and that goes half the distance to the goal line. Tim, that was almost like a quarterback draw.
Yep. But you know what? Phoebus has got to maintain their composure. They can't be doing stuff like that. Now, their running back got hurt, and I'm sure that they are upset about it, but you can't tackle the Hampton player way out of bounds.
There was nothing that happened that hurt him that was intentional.
No. Well, not that we know of, but certainly it didn't appear to be. But that was just ridiculous, and the Phantoms cannot afford to give up that kind of yardage with an after the play foul like that. They're fortunate it's only half the distance to the goal. So they give the Crabbers a 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. The Crabbers leading 14-0 already. Fake the handoff, and Taylor is tripped up. And
Moss again.
Yep, Moss. It looked like 82 might have got a hand on him, too. That's Stephen Friday.
Yeah, those two young men they're some defensive ball players.
Watch the replay. Actually, I think Friday might have gotten the first stick on him.
No, it was Moss.
Okay.
Friday was hooked up with number 60, it looks like, from the Crabbers.
So no gain on the play. Actually, a loss of perhaps a yard. It'll be 2nd and goal.
I think he was hooked up with Tim Richardson. Tim Richardson and Herbert Broughton playing the left guard and tackle for the Crabbers.
Still trying to see the far sideline if Elin Lewis has been up and about.
I looked over and didn't see it. We got to delay a game. I'm looking on the sideline. And Tim, I see him. He's at the far end of the field, far end of the bench.
I see him.
With a towel and a coat over his head.
Yeah, I see him.
He is done for the night. Bless his heart. Let's hope it's not a serious injury.
14-yard line is where they mark it, 2nd and goal after the delay of game penalty against the Crabbers. From the gun, Taylor looks over the middle, throws a little bit low.
Somebody might have got a hand on that.
Yep, Devin Branch, again, the intended receiver. Ernest Harvey, in the stats at least, was his 2nd favorite receiver behind Todd Nolan.
Oh, is that
but tonight
right?
we've already seen him going to Devin Branch on 3 occasions. So it brings up
we got a penalty.
Okay, got a penalty. I was going to say it'd be 3rd down, but if it's a substantial penalty, it looks like the Phantoms will back up the Crabbers.
Oh, wait a second. They're saying, I think they're saying they're going to decline the penalty.
Illegal shift.
Okay.
So they'll take the play and bring up a 3rd and goal at the 14.
At the far end of the bench down there is what. Can you see him now?
I was trying to see if they had ice on his leg or anything of that nature. I didn't see that.
I couldn't tell because I don't know if it's the knee or the ankle.
Right. Taylor feeling some pressure, and he is sacked back to the 24-yard line.
Moss and that was Friday and Moss.
Colby Walker on the stop as well, and so the Crabbers now going in the opposite direction. They've got a 4th and goal at the 23-yard line.
Scotty thought that was 88, but that's Elon Lewis.
Yep. So it's 4th down, and this is a huge play in this ball game. 4th and goal. Crabbers shifting their receivers now. Got trips to the right side. From the shotgun, Taylor wants to throw in the end zone for Nolan. He has got him.
Touchdown.
What a perfect throw and catch.
Holy moly, that was from what, about the 23, 24?
23-yard pass. On 4th and goal, found him deep in the end zone. A late flag in the end zone. I believe the play will stand. Here's the replay. You're just going to see a perfect pass, and Nolan makes the grab, and a flag down. We're going to assume it's unsportsmanlike against the Crabbers.
A little celebration, and that'll make a long extra point for Tino.
Practicing those field goal attempts when he might need one.
How many plays on this drive, guys?
Well,
now the Crabbers are going to look like they're going to go with a 2-point conversion. So interesting strategy.
Yeah.
The ball is marked at the 17, almost 18-yard line. 18-yard line would be correct.
See, that'd be a 28 plus 7, be about a 35-yarder.
So they figure, well, what the heck? We just had a 23-yard touchdown pass. Why don't we just go for 2 the hard way? And now we're going to take a timeout as the Hampton Crabbers will take their first timeout. And they will talk about this and make sure they've got the play they want to have set up for this 2-point conversion attempt. They lead 20-0 to the Crabbers, and it's been all Tyrod Taylor in this first half. He has just been phenomenal, throwing strikes to Nolan for 52 yards and 23 yards, and then he scored his own 3-yard run.
We want to thank our corporate sponsor, Zooms, has the Beantown Coffee, fried chicken, pizza, potato wedges, Krispy Kreme donuts that Tim picks them up in a box in one, ham and cheese sub, Coke, and you can fill up your car with that good Citgo gas. Thank you, Zooms. What do you got?
And last week there was a very inexpensive.
Yeah,
Did
you told me, but 169, I missed it.
Yeah, see.
So now it's 174, but still ain't bad.
What's a few cents to a man of your means? Crabbers 9.
We get the big bucks, don't
9 plays, that's right. 9 plays, 58 yards, 423 is the amount of time they took. That's one of their longer drives, as a matter of fact. So going for the 2, back to the live action here. From the shotgun, Taylor looks in the end zone. He's got Nolan again, and it's knocked away on a nice play by Jacoby Fenner this time.
No, number 2 was the Nathan Robinson. You got the wrong team.
Got the right 2, but the wrong team. You're absolutely right. The Nathan Robinson breaking up the pass play in the end zone. So the extra point attempt goes by the board. Watch this replay. You see Robinson defending perfectly against Nolan and just knocked it away. That's the way you have to play that defense. So 9:04 remains in the half, and the Crabbers have pulled out on top 20-0. And if you joined us late, Elon Lewis went down early in the first period on what seemed to be just a normal, regular, run-of-the-mill running play, and he apparently injured his left knee or ankle. And he has not returned, and that's bad news for the Phantoms.
Well, Tim, it was a big pile-up over there where he got tackled, and, of course, you can get your leg turned and somebody falls on it. Or
I was watching one of the games I had last week on the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens running back got his.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that or not, but it was not something you wanted to see the replay of.
No, it's something like that. Don't want to watch that replay.
No, in fact, they even told us, don't watch it if you're squeamish. So let's just hope that is not the case for Elon Lewis. And a nice run back, 40, 42, 43-yard line on a superb return.
Whaley.
On 27, Dennis Mathis.
Oh, that Mathis?
Yep.
All right.
Watch this replay of the kickoff return. This is something the Phantoms are going to have to get some points from the special teams, or from, like you said, Bob, players are going to have to step up that don't normally come to the fore. When you rely on Elon Lewis, and I'll give you his stats, folks. These are, if you're living in a cave and never heard about this, but this man had 256 carries, 2,300 yards, 35 touchdowns on the season. You just can't take that kind of power out of your lineup and not feel it tremendously as you watch Dennis trying to do his best.
Tim, I just looked over there on the sideline, and Elon Lewis is standing up, and they have ice on his knee. Not his ankle, on his knee.
I do, in fact, see him moving very
moving a little
gingerly.
bit.
And you get a shot of that. It's on our far right side. It's at the 40-yard line of the Crabbers. See if we can get that shot for you. But he is not apparently going to be back in this game. He's just limping, even trying to stand. So does not look good. Vincent on the receiving end. A flag down on the play as he gets to about the 45-yard line, which would be a first down. But let's see what the penalty flag is about.
We got holding, I believe. There's a good shot of Lewis. You can see on his left knee that bag of ice.
Don't know whether it's a bruise or a ligament or something worse, but does not look good at this point. We did see this last year. Lewis banged up badly, left to the locker room, helped off the field, and came out in the second half and ran like a wild man. Now, let's just hope, if you're a Phoebus Phantom fan, let's hope that's what's happening for your team.
Well, that's a big penalty. You go from a first down to 2nd and 10.
Yep, they had a first down at the 45-yard line of the Crabbers, so the penalty mark-off hurts the Phantoms. And like you said, right now, they got to play perfectly. Aaron Ward under center, out of the I formation. On the draw play to Dennis Mathis, and he'll barely get back to the line of scrimmage. That's about all.
It looked like number 61 for the Phantoms. In on the stop that time.
Crabbers.
I'm sorry.
So I can do it once. You get to do it once.
Yeah, Daniel Carroll plays the one of the tackles.
So a gain of a yard on the play. Third down and 9 for the Phantoms.
Well, you look right now, you're going to see maybe, I don't think we'll see a draw play, but we may see a screen pass. So the flanker pass has been pretty successful for them.
Play action fake. Instead, they go over the middle on a nice grab right over the middle by Matt Wright. What a superb catch at the 40-yard line, and that'll move the sticks.
Well, that was a big, big third down play.
They'll mark it at the 39-yard line.
Stop that time. Watch this. Great catch for Wimmer.
Our camera actually kept going, and everybody see the final part of that play. But the 39-yard line is the spot, first down for the Phantoms. Pass, just off the fingertips of Nathan Robinson on a slant.
Well, I tell you, number 33 for the Crabbers, Jonathan King, had smelled that out, and he was running over there. If he would have caught the ball, he would have introduced himself. Said, my name is Jonathan King.
2nd down and 10 for the Phantoms.
LC Bird Skyhawks 6.
Moss gets the handoff on the inside. Not much happening there as he got a yard or two.
Well, they've been running him a little more at fullback than they have in the past. B.J. Brown has run a lot of that fullback, but they put Moss back there and has done a good job for him.
They mark him at the 38-yard line, so a gain of a yard. It's going to be 3rd down and 8 to go for the Phantoms. Long 8, almost 9. There you look into the Hampton sideline, the players huddled around.
Well, Hampton's got their pass defense in there now.
Matt Wright came over to say something to Aaron Ward. Now Ward wants to throw over the middle. He's got Vincent, and he's got the catch. And he's still going. He's in. Score. Touchdown, Phoebus. A 38-yard pass.
For 38 yards and the Phantom score.
Brent Vinson.
And that's what they need. They need somebody to step
desperately. They need somebody to come up with a big play. Watch Aaron Ward. He looks over the defense and throws in a crowd. Look at this. 4 Crabbers around Vinson and couldn't bring him down. And then it was a foot race to the end zone, and Vinson won that race and got Phoebus their first points of the night with 5:55 left in the half.
And Aaron Ward got very little pressure on him that time and was able to sit back into the pocket and pick out Vincent coming across on a crossing pattern.
Schwartz is good with the extra point try, so with 5:55 remaining, the Phantoms are on the scoreboard. 6 plays, 3 minutes and 9 seconds. 57 yards is the length of the drive. And the Phantoms are on the board with the 38-yard pass from Aaron Ward to Brent Vincent for the touchdown. What a nice play by the Phantoms.
Well, they needed somebody to step up, and that's what Bill D is probably telling the kids on the sideline. It says right now we have to assume we're not going to play anymore with Elon Lewis, so we got to get somebody else who's going to step up and make some plays. And right there you saw Aaron Ward stay in the pocket and get good protection from his offensive line and find Brinson on a crossing pattern.
Now I got some news for you.
Okay.
Elon Lewis has taken the wrap off the knee.
Uh-oh.
He's at the 35-yard line, and he's flexing his legs. Actually did a couple of deep knee bends on the far sideline. Got a bunch of Phantoms kind of huddled around him, but he is walking. Can you pick him up?
Yeah, sure. I got him.
And he has gotten the ice off the knee. He's gingerly flexing those knees from the 18-yard line. On the kick. Out of bounds at the 35-yard line, and a late flag. They've got to stop this out-of-bounds stuff if there's going to be any chance.
Well, it looked like to me that there was a Phantom that jumped on the pile after everybody was out of bounds.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what it was or not.
That was Cotton on the kick return to the 35, and you tack on 15, and you're at midfield.
Right here, you'll see him. He's out of bounds, and then comes.
Well, see,
he never went on him.
No, that's not a good call.
Yeah,
he kind of leaped over the pile and didn't really land on anybody. If that's the guy they're calling it on.
Well, the person he landed on was his own player.
Yeah, I mean,
it was not a red shirt.
I got to question that call if that's what it was. There's
inside of Lewis.
Lewis strapping up the belt. I'll tell you, that would be a huge boost to the Phantoms if he were able to return, but right now at least there's hope for them.
Yeah.
But they can't make stupid plays like that regardless. You can't even give the officials the chance to make them. The guy was out of bounds. Leave him alone. From midfield, the Crabbers don't need good field position most of the time, but they'll take it. This is Taylor, and Taylor to the 40, 35-30, and he's out of bounds at the 30-yard line, a gain of 20 yards on the play.
He is showing a lot of strength in his legs because he is running through some tackles, Tim.
Tell you something, Bob, I'm not going to say that I've been able to feel this up until what I'm starting to feel like. I'm starting to see a little bit of a Ronald Curry thing going on here.
You're not the first one that is mentioned that.
You know, I mean, it's just a sophomore. Now, Curry was phenomenal as a freshman and just got better and better, but Mr. Taylor is starting to have some definite visions of this, just the sophomore, and he has got some great vision down that field. 20-yard gain on the play.
Here he goes again.
This time he is wrestled to the ground. He went to the well one time too many. Looks like that was Devontae Lindsay who wrestled him to the ground.
Lindsay says, you go parallel if you want, but you're not going to pick up anything. He maybe picked up maybe a half a yard.
No, he got nothing. He got nothing.
Nothing.
Watch this. He runs, and then he goes side along this. Boom. That was one of those take my stiff arm and tear your arm off and beat you with it, you know. So second down and 10 at the at the Phoebus 30. 5:03 on the clock, and it is moving here in the first half. Hampton 20 and Phoebus 7. From the shotgun, Taylor gets some pressure, throwing, and it is incomplete.
Well, number 84.
And that's not someone he normally throws to. That's Marcus Bassett.
And Marcus looked over the wrong shoulder. Had he looked over his left shoulder, he probably would have had a better chance to pick the ball up and maybe had a chance to catch it.
So it brings up a third down and 10. This is a pivotal play if I can make that observation right now. If you can hold the Crabbers out of the end zone and keep it to a 14-point difference, a 13-point difference, it's a whole lot different than adding another 7 on the board.
You got that right.
So let's see how they do this. This is probably 4-down territory for the Crabbers in any event. Going to be very close to a delay of the game. Might have heard someone in the booth there say it.
And there's a whistle.
And that's the official that would normally call the delay. The back judge will keep track of that, so they're going to back them up 5 yards. So they have to just have a little more of a challenge there. Third down and 15 to go now. From the 35-yard line.
And coming into the play is Stacy Johnson, number 22, plays one of the wideouts.
He's just 5'7", 155-pounder. Saw him in late action last week. Taylor is in the shotgun. McPherson next to him. McPherson has not been a big factor in this first half. This is what the factor has been. Knocked away on a nice defensive play again by Brent Vincent. So he's doing it at both sides of the ball. Not only did he catch the touchdown, but he broke up a touchdown as that ball was headed for Nolan's hands.
If that would have been a little harder, it would have been a touchdown.
Just a little deeper.
Just a little short. And
this ball was on the mark.
Left foot.
Oh, what a perfect play by Vincent at the last second, because Nolan had his hands up. He was ready to
bring that baby in.
So now it's 4th down and 15 for the Crabbers. And again, this is the pivotal play of the first half for the Phantoms. Need 15 to keep the drive alive. 35 for a score. Taylor from the gun. High snap. Gets a block from McPherson, and Taylor now trying to run with the ball, and he is going to be stopped at the 35-yard line. The Phantoms will take over. Got another player shaken up at the 45-yard line for the Phantoms. He's slow to get up. That's Moss. Stephon Moss might have just had the wind knocked out of him. But the
maybe
Phantom
just take a little break.
Yeah, maybe. Might have caught, because they say, wait. 35-yard line is where the Phantoms take over on a huge 4th down stand for Phoebus to keep themselves in this ball game. 4:36 remains in the first half. Phantoms have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Hampton has 2. Ward gives to Dennis Mathis, and he picks up about 3 yards out to the 38-yard line.
Well, I look for Ward to pass much more than they're going to give the ball to Mathis. Not saying that Mathis isn't a good runner. He's just not the caliber that can break the tackles that Lewis can. But we've seen that the offensive line for the Phantoms have done a good job of protecting Aaron Ward. He hasn't really had to scramble that much. He's back into center.
2nd down and 7 on the option play. Ward has some running room. He's got the first down at midfield and taken down at the 46-yard line. First down for the Phantoms. So Phoebus has found some offense. A little option play by Aaron Ward, and he picks up yardage to the Hampton 46-yard line. Watch this replay. Faked the dive into the middle, and the defense for the Crabbers took that fake pretty solidly. And Aaron Ward carried the ball to the 46-yard line. First down for the Phantoms. 3:45 remaining. Again, they have all 3 of their timeouts on the board. This is Dennis Mathis, and he will not get a yard.
Now, he was tackled immediately by number 62 for the Crabbers, Tim Richardson. Richardson right there.
Coming in the ball game is Donathan Robinson for the Phantoms.
Donathan Robinson is one of favorite receivers. As you watch the replay there.
Yeah, they actually were generous on the spot. They gave him no gain. It looked like he might have been thrown for a yard or 2. Over the middle, incomplete, not even close to Robinson. It looks like there might have been some confusion on the pattern, because Vincent looked back at Aaron Ward with his palms open to say, wait a minute, who was that to? Is that me or to Robinson? Because you missed both of us pretty badly.
Yeah, it was not one of his more accurate passes.
Well, you never know. It might have been the wrong route was run.
Yeah, and that happens sometimes. A lot of these are on time and play. We got a timeout right now.
And, let's face it, okay, while we talk this timeout, let's talk about the fact that Aaron Ward hasn't had to pass much during the year. Clearly, when you've got a man that has 2,300 yards, 35 touchdowns, you're not going to be throwing the ball 25 or even 20 times a game. In fact, coming into the game, just to give you the stats on Ward, he only threw 85 times, had a very nice completion average of 50 completions out of 85 attempts. So far in the game, he's 5 out of 10 for 75 yards and a touchdown.
You're talking about his passing. Let me tell you a little something that Bill D shared with me. He says some of the games that we played when they had the running clock at the second half, he says, I told the coaches on the other side, we're going to work on our short passing game. He says, this is what we're not going to go down deep, but we're going to work on our time so that the other team knew about it.
Right.
So, I mean, it wasn't trying to run up the score, but he knew he doesn't get many times to pass the ball.
Sure, it's almost like a scrimmage against a team where you're just out there to work on on the fundamentals. As you
Shot,
see,
Monique
bundled up on this chilly night at Darling Stadium. Temperature in the 40s. Fortunately for the full house on hand, no wind tonight.
Oh, hey, that's a blessing.
Oh, you better believe it. All right, from the shotgun, Aaron Ward, 3rd down and 10. Crucial big down here. He's got some running room. Instead, he elects to throw deep. He's got Fenner. Is he going to get him called for the push-off? Not Fenner, but Robinson, rather. Robinson pushed off, got away with it. A touchdown from 46 yards out. Watch this replay.
Boy, he threw that thing right.
I don't know if you'll see it on the replay, but just as the ball got there, Robinson pushed the defender away pretty clearly to everyone here except the guys in the striped shirts. And the Phantoms are in the ball game, folks. 20-13, chance to make it a 6-point ball game.
How big was this stop down here on 4th down?
Huge, absolutely huge. So often you see the defense come up with a big play. The offense returns the favor. Extra point by Schwartz is good.
And we got a 6-point game.
We are at 20-14 with 2:48 left in the half. There you see the Hampton side of the field, somewhat stunned by all of that. But on the play again, Bob. Again, it's more difficult to see it from up here, but it looked like Robinson clearly pushed off just as the ball got there.
Oh, something happened because they got some separation.
5 plays, 65 yards, just a $1:48 were the time. So the Phantoms didn't even have to use their timeouts. They used one during that drive. But again, you want to watch the replay of the touchdown pass. Here it is again.
We're going to try to slow it down to see if we can pick up.
Well, by the time the ball gets there, it's kind of hard to see the push. We'll see if we can't pick it up. But right here, it does look like he pushed him away. But again, that's our interpretation from about 75 yards away. The officials right on top of the play. Might have been a mutual push. Who knows? But in any event, the big bottom line of this is the Phantoms are just 6 points down as we approach halftime. And the Crabbers boot the kick. The ball is on the ground. I believe the Hampton team covered the ball. But, boys, it's starting to unravel for Hampton right now.
They come out looking so sharp there. First three possessions had three scores.
Exactly. But now the Phantoms have retaliated with 38 and 46-yard pass plays for touchdowns, and they've made it a 6-point game with 2:44 left in the half. And the even better news is Elon Lewis is up and moving around with potentially the opportunity to return to the ballgame. Tyrod Taylor will come in from the sideline with the plays from the coaches. Harvey comes to the near side along with Johnson. Stacy Johnson's over here. And now he steps completely out of bounds. That's going to be a penalty against the Crabbers. Or did they call for the timeout? Because Harvey came to the sideline as if he were going out wide and then literally stepped off the field. So apparently they got the timeout called before a penalty flag was thrown on the play.
Yeah, because that could have been...
Well, if he was the 11th man, that's not a problem. But if he was the 12th man who just was trying to sneak off the field, then you've got a problem.
And then you got the illegal substitution rule.
Right, you can't have 12 men in the huddle. There you see Nathaniel, don't rain on me, Braxton, bundled up tonight to keep the cold off of him. That's him. He had he had like a 3-gallon cup of coffee he was taking out to work with tonight.
Well, is he going to use it to
pour it over his hands?
I thought he was going to soak his feet. I wasn't sure.
Either or both. So the Crabbers perhaps avoided a penalty there.
And we've got Tyrod under center.
And he tapes the ball and runs out to about the 30-yard line. Let's see where they mark his forward progress. Going to put him down at the 29-yard line, so they'll won't give him quite as big a gain as I had tried to give him. Gain of 6 on the play, 2nd down and 4. Taylor looking to the near sideline to see what the call is going to be. You see Mike Smith giving the play.
And maybe they can have another delay of game here.
Devin Branch brings it in from the sideline. Often you see Taylor go over to the sideline and get it. This time Branch brought it in from the near sideline, and Mike Smith from the shotgun.
Yeah, waited too long.
And again, delay of game. So the back judge throws the flag, and
you can see that one coming.
Yeah, they just can't take that much time, and so they back him up 5 yards. Again, these are not typical of plays that you see the Hampton Crabbers doing. They just don't commit these type of mental errors.
That was the third one that has been called.
2nd down and 9. From the shotgun, Taylor standing and tall, throwing for Nolan near sideline, just off his fingertips. Defending on the play again, Brent Vincent. Just off the fingertips of Todd Nolan as you see him in your picture there. So that brings a 3rd and 9 for the Crabbers with $1:38 on the clock. Phoebus could get the ball again before halftime here. They have a little bit of heat put on Taylor this time. The Phantoms rush to him, may have hurried that throw a little bit, and but just off the fingertips.
It's one of those that you just, if you could just get your fingernails to grow a little.
3rd down and 9. Taylor over the middle, got Nolan, through his hands and picked off. Vincent gets the interception off of the fingertips of Todd Nolan, and the Phantoms have it at the Hampton 35-yard line with 1:31 remaining and 2 timeouts.
That's the first turnover in tonight's game, isn't it? I don't think we've had a turnover prior to this.
I don't believe there has been. No, there was a fumble earlier, but they recovered it.
That's right.
But they covered it. I think they covered it. In any event, 35-yard line is where the Phantoms have it with 1:31 remaining and 2 timeouts. Plenty of time. They trail by 6. Just the first half. This has been everything everybody wanted it to be, Bob.
It has that. Both sides have had ups and downs.
Ward still has the ball. Rolling, looking. He's got 4 Crabbers chasing him down. Now he throws deep, and he just throws it away. He threw it over everybody's heads. Fortunately, one of the Crabbers had a shot at getting it. That was Jerome Froome, who was the closest man to it.
They had no offensive player with them.
Well, they're talking about it right now. The officials are actually huddled at the 45-yard line to discuss if he was outside the tackle box, and if he threw it beyond the line of scrimmage, then there wouldn't be a problem with that, as I understand the rule, although I could be incorrect on that. But they are discussing it.
And it is a flag because there was nobody.
Yep.
And that'll be that'll be a loss of down, too?
Be loss of down, intentional grounding. Yep. I think at one point he was outside the tackle box. He may have come back into it as he scrambled around.
Yeah, he just
threw it
basically got rid of it because he was going to take it. He's going to be sacked.
And you can see Ward discussing it with referee
he's pleading his case down there.
Yeah. He says, hey, I thought I had a man in the area. I threw it beyond the line of scrimmage, So, again, still discussing the play. I guess the spot of the penalty. And across the field, Bill D is also having words with one of the officials, I guess, expressing his point of view. But it is a loss of down, and the penalty will mark the ball out to the 45. So that's a 10-yard penalty, and a loss of down makes it 2nd down and 20. I believe that's a good question. Does the penalty occur from the spot foul? Because that would be
I don't know if that's a spot foul or not.
It wasn't marked that way. This is Ward on the keeper, and Ward still on his feet, and he is very close to a first down. A 20-yard run by Aaron Ward on the option play, and he is going to be just short of the first down at the 26-yard line. Needs to get to the 25. It'll be 3rd down and 1 to go.
Great job of following his blockers. Watch this. Right here, get some good blockers out in front, and then cuts and uses his blockers.
Well, some great downfield blocking by his team. I mean, this is, again, people stepping up to do that little extra to try and get the ball game back in their hands. A timeout has been called by the Crabbers as they want to make sure they've got the right defense in place here. What a phenomenal first half. You know, we thought we'd see the running of Tracy McPherson and Elon Lewis. It's not been the runners. It's been the quarterbacks.
Both quarterbacks have been the ones that stepped up tonight.
Well, we said the quarterback was going to be the difference. We just didn't know which one, I guess.
How about both?
How about both? They have been the difference. Aaron Ward's numbers coming into the game are just about half of that of Tyrod Taylor. Taylor, 70 completions in 115 attempts for almost 1,600 yards. On the other hand, Ward just 50 of 85, so he's got 30 less attempts. He's got 20 less completions and half the yardage. And, of course, 17 touchdowns for Tyrod Taylor, 11 for Ward. Right on the night, 6 of 12 for 121 yards for Aaron Ward so far. Been a great first half for him. On the keeper, he just wanted to get that first down, and he has got the first down. Now, they'll stop the clock with 1 minute and 3 seconds remaining in the half.
Plenty
in order
of time.
To move the chains.
Well, how many timeouts they've got?
They've got one each. So they do get the benefit of the first down, and now the clock will be restarted from the 24-yard line. First down for the Phantoms. Aaron Ward feeling some pressure. Throws Vincent on a crossing pattern. He's got some running room up the middle. He is down inside the 10 to the 5-yard line. It'll be first and goal for the Phantoms.
What a nice call. What a great call.
Vincent on the slant. First and goal at the 4-yard line. Watch this replay. Ward just looks like he's an NFL quarterback the way he's throwing right now. He's got blockers downfield. Perfect execution by Vincent. On the keeper, Ward with the scrum. Is he in? Touchdown!
And we could have a different leader going into halftime.
Can you believe that after trailing 20-0 and losing their number one running back, the number one running back in probably the state, the Phantoms go back with 3 consecutive scores, have tied it, and Chris Schwartz can actually put the Phantoms ahead before halftime.
And that turnover, that not only a big turnover, but to cash in on the turnover.
Chris Schwartz will try and take the lead for the Phantoms. Out of Aaron Ward's hold, the kick is long enough, and the kick is good. And the Phantoms have taken a 1-point lead with 36 seconds remaining in the half. That was 6 plays, 35 yards, took less than a minute, just 55 seconds. The big play, the pass to Brent Vincent for a first and goal from the 4, and on the ensuing play, Aaron Ward took it in for the touchdown from 4 yards out.
Well, I tell you, Bill D and the coaching staff needed somebody to step up and do something. And Brent Vincent has not only played well receiving the ball, but defensively done a good job of breaking up a couple of passes. So he's playing well on both sides of the ball. And then we see Aaron Ward just doing a great job of running the ball like Tyrod Taylor did on the other side.
It's an amazing first half. I mean, I'm telling you, if with your star running back out and you're down by 3 touchdowns, the Phantoms could have folded up the tent and headed back to Phoebus.
Well, and also, you look on the other side, maybe the Crabbers just relaxed a little bit.
So Schwartz will kick it off. He'll kick a squib taken by one of the up men at the 28-yard line. And got some running room outside. That's Ernest Harvey across the 40.
And he's a young man that knows how to run the ball.
So the Crabbers, with a timeout remaining and 28 seconds on the clock, still have an opportunity before halftime. And again, the defenses have played well, but again, not a low-scoring game by any means. 41 points on the board, and we're just approaching the first half conclusion. They'll spot it at the Hampton 41-yard line. Tyrod Taylor will bring in the play from the sideline. He's just been phenomenal both running and passing tonight. But Aaron Ward has picked up the gauntlet.
Boy, he has that.
And we've seen a reaction from the Phantoms that has been outstanding here. It's been a story of 2 different quarters. Crabbers from the shotgun. Taylor. Got a man open near sideline. That's Stacy Johnson. The ball is complete or not? It's very close. The officials looking at each other to say no. And now one of the officials finally rules that the ball was on the ground, incomplete.
The two officials on this side did not have a good shot at
Right.
the ball. Officials from the other side coming over saying, no, it skipped off the turf.
Well, apparently a good job of the officials working together. Our replay, unfortunately, won't show the ball before it got there. So, but the officials doing the right thing. You know, there's no hurry to get the call made. The important part is to get the correct call made, and they apparently did that after they conferred and determined that the ball did in fact hit the ground. I thought it hit the ground, but it's so difficult to tell.
Yeah.
It's so close. 2nd and 10. Taylor looking at the swing man coming out. He's got Nolan near sideline, overthrows him as his counterpart, like number 9, Devontae Lindsay, was covering on the play. So it makes it 3rd down and 12 seconds remain in the half. Still trying to spring that pass to one of his receivers and hopefully get one of those great yak plays, yards after catch.
Yards after catch. I like that.
So we've got 12 seconds remaining. Each team has 1 timeout remaining. It's 3rd down and 10 for the Crabbers. They need to get to the 49-yard line to move the sticks. Swing pass near side. This is Tracy McPherson. He's been almost invisible. He's going to race to get to the 1st down and then get out of bounds to stop the clock with 4 seconds remaining. Ball marked inside the 43-yard line. McPherson has been pretty minimal in running tonight. Let's see if I can get the numbers for Tracy McPherson in the first half. Just 4 carries for 12 yards. This young man, McPherson, coming into the game, 1,800 yards, an average of 7.5 every time he carries the ball. So for whatever reason, he's been a non-factor running the ball here in the first half. It's been all Tyrod Taylor. So you got 4 seconds. You got time for 1 play, barring a defensive penalty, from the 43-yard line, and you've got the number 1 receiver on the Peninsula District, and there's no one covering the receiver at the top of the screen.
Well, they got him way downfield.
They got the prevent defense, if you will. Taylor finally gets it away, and it's incomplete. McPherson can't hold on to it, and time runs out here in a phenomenal first half as the Crabbers took a 20-0 lead and have seen the Phantoms come back with 3 unanswered scores to take the lead at halftime. Our score at halftime is Phoebus 21, Hampton 20. We'll return to Darling Stadium for the 3rd quarter of action after this brief timeout. Here at halftime, what a halftime we've had here discussing the first half of play, Bob. Just a phenomenal tale of 2 different stories here. The
2 quarters, right?
Basically, the 2 quarters, Hampton raced out to a 3-touchdown lead, only to see Phoebus, after they lost their premier running back, Lynn Lewis, 3 touchdowns in a row, and an extra point is the difference in this right now. There was a celebration after that 2nd touchdown, and the Crabbers went for a long extra point, 2-point attempt, and it didn't work.
Right.
And that's the difference in this ball game right now. In the first half stats, the Phoebus Phantoms had 15 carries for 70 yards. Aaron Ward, the leading rusher, with 5 carries for 40. The passing yardage for Ward, 7 of 13, 2 touchdowns, 140 yards. Brent Vincent, the big gun, with 4 catches for 74 yards in the first half. total of 210 yards for the Phantoms, 9 first downs. They did not turn the ball over, and they were penalized 4 times for 40 yards. For the Crabbers, they rushed the ball 18 times for 89 yards. And again, the quarterback was the leading rusher, this time Taylor, at 14 carries for 77 yards. He also passed 16 times, completing 8 of them with 1 interception, 2 touchdowns for a total of 160 yards. Nolan, his favorite receiver all season long, no reason to deviate from that in this game. 4 catches for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. Total 249 yards for the Crabbers, 10 first downs. They fumbled the ball once. They did not lose it, and they were penalized 5 times for 45 yards.
How close are those statistics? It's just unbelievable,
yeah, I mean,
how close. I mean, the passing yardage is within 10, 20 yards. The penalties are very close. This has just been a game that has been 2 separate quarters. Hampton came out strong and scored boom, boom, boom. First 3 possessions they had the ball, and Lewis gets hurt, and we think, okay, Phoebus is going to have to do something. I said somebody's going to have to step up. Ward and Vincent did it. 3 unanswered touchdowns.
Aaron Ward has broken out, but so often when you've got someone like Lewis who just has been phenomenal, 2,300 yards on the season, 35 touchdowns, it's very difficult to shift your focus when you've got someone who's relied on for 11 games to be the breadwinner, if you will, the guy who carries the ball almost exclusively.
Right.
And now you've got to deviate from that, and that's tough. And the Phantoms showing character here, because they could have just said, you know what, no one's going to think worse of us because Lewis is our big man. He's out. Guess what? You know what? We tried, and that's it. They didn't quit. They came back, and they worked their tails off to get a 1-point lead at halftime.
A lot of pride on both sides of the ball, both the Phoebus Phantoms and the Crabbers. And the Phantoms were not going to go silently into the night. They were going to scream and fight and say, we've got other people. This is not a one-player team. We've got 11 players out here, and if you take him out, we can put somebody else in, but we got other people to step up, and they did that.
Vincent was the big man catching the ball, but the leading receiver was Donathan Robinson on the season with just 11 catches in 11 games. So, this is a team that's not built to pass.
Yeah, right,
it's not focused on pass. It's a team that had a man carry the ball 256 times for 2,300 yards, Elon Lewis.
Well, and that's who you play with, because that's the guy that gets the job done. You got a good offensive line that'll open up some holes for you, and that's where you do it. But when you get hurt, you've got other athletes out there that are good athletes at the skill positions, and Ward and Vincent showed that they can step up when they need somebody to step up.
Well, the big difference now, in my opinion, and I'd ask for yours as well, is the halftime adjustments. Yeah. What are you going to do, and how well will your team adjust to the differences that have occurred in the first half?
Well, I don't know about Phoebus what they're going to do, but I know Hampton's going to have to put pressure on Ward. Don't let him sit in that pocket and pick out a receiver and let a receiver get open because he's got 5 or 6 seconds to sit back there to throw the ball. I look for Hampton to maybe throw in Fenner or another linebacker, shoot the gap, and try to put a little pressure on him. Phoebus, on the other hand, they're going to have to stop the running of Taylor, and they're going to have to put somebody, maybe to put a spy on Taylor. Wherever he goes, this defensive player goes.
All right, the Phantoms will get the ball to start the second half. It's picked up by the aforementioned Brent Vincent at the 20-yard line. He is out to about the 27 or 28 before he's taken down, and that's where the Phantoms will take over, 1st and 10.
And second half is brought to you in part by Park Lawn Wood Funeral Home, where they're located at Hampton Center Parkway, North Armstead Avenue. For more information, give them a call at 827-4670, where Nancy Staten is the manager. And, of course, Zooms, who's given an award to the senior player on each one of the teams this year, has demonstrated academic excellence. They will receive an award at a school board meeting. We thank David Allen and Zooms for their continued support to WHCS No Student Athletes.
Aaron Ward will start the handoff to Dennis Mathis, who has come in and had been the mainstay running the ball in Alan Lewis's absence. So he will carry for a couple of yards to the 31-yard line, almost 3. Let's call it 2nd down and 7 to go.
Well, he is the backup tailback. Mathis is.
I was talking with a number of different people in the press box at halftime. Bob was talking with some of the reporters from the Daily Press and others. And they say that there's a brace on the knee, and they don't know the exact extent of the injury, but what a great job by Matt Wright to get all the way out to midfield as Aaron Ward stays just as hot as can be.
Well, that was just a little old fake to the dive and a quick pass to your tight end, Tim.
Well, you know, the little old play like that when you haven't thrown on it often is a pretty big old play as they're out to midfield on the first down play.
Well, they're walking up to the line of scrimmage with a little bounce in their step, them being the Phantoms.
The momentum is in their possession right now. We've got some stoppage of play for a moment as referee James Orr went over to the far sideline and had a brief discussion with a couple of the Phoebus coaches.
Well, what he had picked up something off the field. He gave it to him, so I don't know if it was like a chin strap or whatever, what it was.
Nonetheless, we're set to go again as the clock is restarted. Ward checks off at the line of scrimmage. He's got double wideouts to the near side. Vincent is one of them. Robinson is the other.
That's
the running game.
B.J.
Brown. First time we've called his name, and Brown is stacked up for no gain at the midfield stripe.
Well, B.J. has been a starter at the fullback position, and Moss has come in and has run the fullback too. So they may bring Moss in at tailback and use B.J. at fullback.
Again, this is tough when you're in your 12th game of the season to change what you've done all year.
But you've got these guys that play backup, so they know the positions. They know what they've got to do.
On the option play, Ward does not get a chance to make it to the corner as he slipped as he got set to make the cut, and in to make sure he didn't go anywhere was Jonathan King, number 33.
Jonathan was right. Johnny on the spot there, doing a good job. Jonathan King.
So
he's playing one of those outside backers over there.
Might have got a half a yard. Let's call it second or third down and a long 9.
A long
nine. Okay. Almost 10.
Or a short 10.
Or a short 10. Since my graphic says 9, I'm working with my guys in the truck.
That's good for you to do that.
Out of the shotgun, Ward has some time. Crabbers have not been able to put the pressure on him yet. He throws, and it is incomplete.
And that big third down did not come through. They're going to have to punt the ball.
Brent Vincent was the intended receiver. But again, the Crabbers not able to get a lot of pressure on Ward. He's done a good job.
He had a lot of time that time.
He just didn't. I think he had good coverage downfield with the Crabbers, and that's what prevented a completion. Had the time, but no one open.
A lot of times they call coverage sacks in the pros, and that's because the coverage downfield is real good. But now you got to be aware of your quarterback being your punter, who can not only run but pass the ball from that punt formation. So you got to be aware of that before this game is over.
And Ward gets a beautiful kick away, driving Nolan back. He fumbles the ball, or at least mishandles it, and is downing the ball, but it's going to be way back on the 8-yard line. So a superb punt by Aaron Ward, 41 yards and no return. In fact, a negative on the return as Nolan mishandled the punt. Didn't fumble it, he muffed it is what he did.
And the ball, they spotted it at the 7, Tim.
Yep. So now the Phoebus defense, we talked about this earlier, the Phoebus offense had to come alive. Now the Phoebus defense has to keep Hampton from making these drives downfield. Look at the beautiful height and hang time. And then Nolan just mishandled it. You don't see Nolan do that very often. He's had some great returns already this season, but that time couldn't find the handle. And they'll start from their 7-yard line.
And they've got the quarterback under center, and they're giving the ball off to McPherson.
And this is what Bob Killen, our lead statistician, was telling me just a minute ago.
Is he the lead statistician?
Well, he'll tell you he is.
Well, because he's sitting close to you. That's why he's the lead, right?
But he was telling me that, he thinks you're going to see a lot more of McPherson in this half, and I think there might be some validity to that. But again, the threat of McPherson opens up the running for Taylor and vice versa. Taylor has come over to the sideline to bring in the play. Harvey comes out as well. And again, they'll be very close to consuming the 25-second play clock. Although there isn't one visible, there's one being counted by the back judge. They get the play off. This is Taylor straight up the middle across the 15 to about the 17-yard line. Very close to a first down, just depending
I think he's
on
going to be a little
progress.
bit short.
See where they spot the ball.
Yeah, that's the key.
So it clearly is short. It's at the 16. Needs to get to the 17, so a crucial third down here as we're at the 8:22 mark of the third period. Watch this replay As you'll see, Taylor just a straight run all the way. And the Phantoms stopped him short of the first down.
Now, the referee took Taylor and made him get back on the other side of the ball when he comes over to talk to the coaches.
Again, Hampton very close to consuming all the time. Under center, Taylor dropping back to pass. Got some good blocks from his teammates. He's got the first down, and as he is across the 25-yard line, and that'll move the chains for the Crabbers.
I'm kind of stunned by that call. Where you have probably less than a yard, and they didn't do a quarterback keeper on it.
No, a little bit of play action, and
yeah. And because you got an athlete at the quarterback is such a good athlete that he can make a play and pick up enough yardage for the first down.
At their own 22-yard line, fresh set of downs. Taylor out of the gun. And again, a straight running play as Taylor calls his own number and gets close to the 25-yard line. 7:42, clock is moving. If you joined us late, the Hampton Crabbers got on top 20-0. Elan Lewis, the premier running back for Phoebus, was injured and has not returned to the ballgame since the first quarter. But the Phantoms responded with 3 touchdowns of their own. Vincent on a 38-yard pass, Robinson on a 46-yard pass, and Aaron Ward on a 4-yard run, and their extra point tries were all good. And that's the difference in this ball game, 21-20 in favor of the Phoebus Phantoms.
Stephen Friday, the defensive end, was the one that time that
option play to Ernest Harvey, excuse me. And Harvey has the first down as he is stopped at about the 35-yard line.
Well, I tell you, Tyrod had no choice but to pitch the ball that time because the young man I was talking about, Stephen Friday, was bearing down on him.
Good job of diversifying the attack a little bit here. Harvey hasn't been used much at all in this ball game, and that time picked up good yardage, first down at the 35.
And they have not looked for him to pass the ball to, and I don't know if he's been covered or what.
35-yard line is where they mark it. Got trips to the left side. Taylor working out of the shotgun with McPherson next to him. Looked like we might have had some premature motion there. We got a penalty flag down.
It's against the Phantoms. They moved before the snap.
That's against the Crabbers, actually.
I'm sorry, I meant Crabbers and said Phantom.
They looked like they started to just go a little bit ahead of the snap. Looked like the center might have been 1 count behind on the snap count.
And Hampton is looking just a little bit out of sync.
Well, they put all their points on the board. The last time they scored was 9:04 to go in the half, and then it was all Phoebus after that, as Phoebus put scores together at 5:55, 2:48, and then the final 36 seconds. First down and 15, setting up the screen to the near side. Harvey has one man, and he cannot get past that one man as he is wrestled to the ground by Donovan Anderson.
Well, he did a good job of picking up the 5 yards that they lost on the penalty, but now you got a 2nd and 9.
Marcus forward progress to the 36-yard line. Pickup of 6.
And usually I've seen Harvey catch the ball over the middle. I've not seen him go out into the flat like that. That may be another little wrinkle that we hadn't seen.
Second down and 9 from the 36. Hampton trailing by 1 point. Pitch to the near side. Ernest Harvey again picks up 5 yards out to the 40. Actually, 4-yard gain. I should correct myself. 4-yard gain.
Because he was only 9, wasn't it?
Right. Third down and 5.
On the stop this time for the Phantoms, number 2 to Nathan Robinson, and number 5 Stephen Moss. 3rd and 5 for the Crabbers.
So the Crabbers try to keep this drive going and get some points on the board. They came out in the first drive. They just went straight down the field and scored almost at will the first 3 times they've had it. But the adjustments on the defensive side of the ball by the Phantoms has been very effective.
They have stepped up defensively.
They're down at 5. The Phantoms show blitz. Fake the handoff. Want to throw the ball tipped at the line of scrimmage. It was intended in the vicinity of Todd Nolan, but someone on the Phoebus side of the ball got a hand on it.
Try number 11, Matt Wright.
Matt Wright. So Wright comes up with the big play to bat the ball down and force the kicking team to come on the field for the Crabbers. In deep punt formation will be Marcus Bassett. And Nathan Robinson will be back deep, standing at his 30-yard line. No breeze of a factor in this ball game. The wind is, fortunately for not only the teams, but the fans in the stands, no wind chill factor for them tonight. Good-looking punt over the head, or certainly near over the head of Robinson, with no chance for him to return the ball. Excellent special teams play.
Well, Phantoms had 10 men on the line of scrimmage that time. Looked like they were going for the block.
37-yard punt with no return. Ball looked like it was going to go over Robinson's head, and then all of a sudden just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Kind of like it hit some wind, but looking at the
little backspin,
the flags on the poles, there really isn't much motion. In fact, the most amount of rain of wind I've seen tonight is occurring right now. A little bit of motion.
Yeah, it's not much, and it's blowing right to left. It's in fact the Phantoms have whatever wind to their back.
All right, so let's see what the Phantoms are able to do now. This is their second possession of the third period. Unable to keep a drive going in the first possession. And this time Ward is smothered on a beautiful play. Was that Dominic White?
Yeah, number 66. And Tim, and they had the pitch man covered too that time.
Well, those are those maybe subtle to the average fan adjustments that you make, but you've got to cover up. Watch the replay. You're going to see Ward here on the option, and he just never had a chance as White was there to smother him before anything could occur. A loss on the play of about 3. Second down and a long 12, almost 13. Ward under center. Crabbers show blitz. They give the ball in the backfield. That is Dennis Mathis.
Mathis again. Gets close to the 25, and maybe he got across it.
They'll mark him right on the 25, and they bring up a third down and 9. So both teams unable to move the ball at will here in the third period. Kind of like a chess match right now. No one wants to make that big mistake. And that was the story of the first game between these two teams, because in that game, the Crabbers, rather the Phantoms, gave up more big plays than they were normally used to doing. I'll give you the stat on that in a minute. Ward has plenty of time, throws, and completes it to Vincent. And Vincent was just separated from the ball, incomplete.
And
Dominic White again.
You see who's getting up.
I'm telling you.
Young man is some kind of ball player.
Number 66, Dominic White. Number 42, Ernest Harvey. Fourth down.
And 57 in there also for the Crabbers.
So the kicking team will come on.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I started to say was in the first game between Hampton and Phoebus, the Phoebus team allowed 13 plays of 15 or more yards on the play to the Crabbers, and that's the difference now. They've shut that down here in the third quarter, but in the first half, Hampton was back to their old tricks of the big plays. Ward's kick is going to be taken by Nolan at the 42-yard line. He's at the 50, 45, 40, and tripped up as he gets to the 40-yard line by Dennis Mathis, but not before the Crabbers get great field position inside the 40-yard line.
When he caught that ball, Tim, and he started running up, there was a lane for him right there. If you can see it on this replay, he's just got a lane right there. There's no Phantom until he had already picked up 10 yards.
They'll mark it at the 39-yard line of the Phantoms, so excellent field position for the Crabbers, and field position is starting to be what the third quarter is about, as neither team is able to sustain a drive. Now a late flag, a couple of late flags
coming in. Now what is...
Yep, don't know exactly what that'll be, but I'm sure James Orr, the referee, will tell us in a moment.
The sideline warning.
Dead ball, legal substitution.
Illegal substitution against the Crabbers, so that'll march them backwards 5 yards.
5 yard penalty will make it first and 50.
Might have had too many players in the huddle.
44.
First down.
So they'll mark it at the 44.
They just are making little silly mistakes out there tonight.
Yeah, not so little when you're playing in this caliber of game. This is win and move on, lose and you're done. Taylor setting up the screen to the near side, read perfectly by Stephon Moss as he was all over Ernest Harvey, and Harvey never had a chance. Boy, was that keyed off perfectly by Moss. Watch this. You're going to see the screen set up, a little bit of pressure on Taylor. and Moss was on top of Ernest Harvey like he knew what the call was.
Well, Harvey actually blocked Moss, and then was supposed to let Moss come through. Moss just stayed right with him.
Read his keys and played it perfectly. Second down and about 19 to go now after the 4-yard loss on that play. Taylor got a reverse to Nolan. He's got a blocker out there, but Nolan won't need it. Vincent chasing him from behind, and Vincent will get him before he goes in, but not until he gets to the 11, 12-yard line.
Wow, what a nice call.
That was a play we have not seen
that play.
And probably Phoebus hasn't either. Watch this. The fake to the inside and the pitch on the flanker reverse.
37.
Or end around at least. I'm not sure how he was lined up, but Vincent caught him from behind, and they actually marked him out of bounds at the 12-yard line. So the Hampton Crabbers, trailing by 1 point, have a first down at the 13-yard line. 12-yard line, check that. From the shotgun, direct snap to Taylor. Taylor following his blocking.
And he's got a touchdown, Tim. He did a great job of throwing his blockers that time, and I look for Crabbers to go for 2.
They regain the lead, 26-21. As you said, down by or up by 5, they'll absolutely go for 2.
Exactly 1 minute on the drive.
1 minute on the drive. It took Hampton with the big play, the
good
reverse to Nolan.
Good camera
and
work.
They really caught Phoebus leaning in the wrong direction on that big run by Todd Nolan.
It's just like a reverse because you got all the flow coming to the near side of the field, and then you just pitch the ball to the split end or the flank or whatever he was running. But then,
Or does he want to know how to announce soccer?
2-point conversion try is no good. So the score remains 26-21. Hampton with 2:09 to go in the third period. The winner of this contest moves to the state semifinals, and on that play, Tyrod Taylor has come up limping and is being helped off the field. How crucial could that injury be?
Wow, geez.
And he is not putting any weight on his right leg. So Tyrod Taylor shaken up on the 2-point conversion attempt, and he will go down as you see in your picture. And boy, how big could that play be in the long run? 39 yards, 3 plays. Just took a minute for the Crabbers to regain the lead, but they have a tough injury, hopefully not a game-ending injury for Tyrod Taylor. So you've seen the two big guns down for each of their teams.
Well, and from what I've understood, hearing the announcer on his side, it sounds like Meadowbrook is running away with the game up there in the Central Division against Hopewell right now, leading like 21-6 or something. So they will host the winner of this team.
From the 20-yard line. This is Mathis, and he fumbled, but it's recovered by Robinson. So a very fortuitous bounce on the fumble, on the hit, and Dennis Mathis was hit hard, but it rolled right to Robinson.
See if you can pick up the player that really hit him tough. Right there, boom, right there, the last one to come in.
I don't know who separated him, but you can't pick up his number. But boy, I tell you, Dennis Mathis would say, did anyone get the number off of that truck? He was smacked. So the Phantoms now trailing again, down by 5, start from their 30-yard line. The pitch to Dennis Mathis, and Mathis rumbles out for a dozen yards. That'll move the chains. So looking down to the sideline now, Taylor is up. Tyrod Taylor is up and moving around, testing out his
did a great job of following his blockers and found that seam and went.
Taylor is walking without a limp, so that's great news for the Crabbers, at least initially. I think they had a cramp, so if that was all it was, that was real good news. This is Dennis Mathis again, picking up good yardage, picked up about 5 out to the 47-yard line. So that's what Taylor had. As uncomfortable as a cramp is, that's a whole lot better than a tendon or a ligament or an ankle.
Mathis just a sophomore, so you know he's there apparent to that tailback spot.
He just might have gotten his opportunities a little sooner than he had perhaps figured he might.
And a lot sooner than the Phantom coaching staff thought he might.
Gain of 5 on that play. 2nd down and 5 to go. 1 minute and 7 seconds. Clock is moving, and now we've got a timeout being taken by the Phantoms. So 1:06 on the clock, and the Phantoms take a timeout. 2nd down and 5. And I look around again. Want to go ahead and read something you wanted to read, Bob? I was going to just kind of keep my eye on
I do want to tell the fans that we will pick a player of the game from each one of these teams tonight, and each player receive a shirt. It comes from Tidewater Team Sports, your one-stop sports headquarters for screen printing, embroidering, uniforms, and apparel. Call 594-0411. Talk to either David Chubb or Terry McNamara.
Mike Hauser, our lead statistician tonight.
We got two lead.
Was noticing down on the sideline that they were moving the ankle as you would normally do to relieve a cramp on Taylor. So that's real good news for the Crabbers because he has been Mr. Everything tonight, and he, like Lewis, would be a huge loss to the team. So 2nd down and 5 as we're set to resume play. I started to say each team has called a timeout, but they haven't. Actually, Phoebus has called one of their timeouts. Hampton has all 3 of theirs remaining. The pitch to Mathis. And Mathis separated from the ball. The ball is loose. They scramble to the football. And Hampton has come up with it.
Recovering the fumble for the Crabbers, number 57, Sean
Childress got to recover the fumble, number 57.
57 got it.
It's cold out there, and that ball can be difficult to grip at times, especially when you get hit real hard.
Right there, number 2, Fenner, coming in from behind.
Who was there on part of the hit. He may have caused the fumble.
Well, he's the one that come from behind, and you can see his hand going in and knocking the fumble out.
So they'll mark it at the 46. Hampton leading by 5 points with the ball again in Phoebus territory. Phantoms have turned the ball over. This is McPherson, and McPherson is thrown for a loss by Matt Wright.
Oh, Matt Wright met him head on.
2-yard loss on the play. McPherson has just been shut down tonight.
Watch this right here. Matt Wright can come up.
So the Phoebus defense comes up with a big play. 2nd down and 12 after the 2-yard loss by McPherson.
Matt Wright playing the middle linebacker, kind of is keying on where the runner's going. If you don't get a body on him, he's going to lay a lick on the runner, and he did that to the tune of about -3.
And now an official's stoppage of play. Apparently we've got an equipment problem on Matt Wright. So he will come out for at least this play. This will not be a charged timeout. But Matt Wright coming out on defense is a serious blow to your defensive alignment. Down to 15 seconds, and now the officials stop play again. And a timeout is being taken by the Hampton Crabbers. So
it's their first, isn't it?
Yep. Each team now has burned one of their timeouts. And Taylor is back in the ball game.
Yes. And, you know, with the cramp, you can come back in.
That is 2 remaining for the Crabbers, 2 also remaining for the Phoebus Phantoms.
So 13 seconds remain on the clock here in the 3rd period. Just one score here in the 2nd half. That was Taylor's 12-yard run to regain the lead for the Hampton Crabbers after they led 20-0, only to see 3 consecutive unanswered touchdowns. And at halftime, it was Phoebus 21-20 over Hampton. But Hampton now up by 5, and they have the ball. Tyrod Taylor, who had been carried off the field, is back in the lineup at quarterback. And again, you could hear the collective sigh of relief on the Hampton sideline
when he went back out there.
I'm telling you, I don't know who backs him up, but I think it was Swan. Devin Swan, I think, is his backup. But you don't want to put your backup in at quarterback after Taylor's had the evening he's had and the season he's had. Swan Sneed is the backup. And now another stoppage of play. I don't see a flag. But now the Crabbers will have to call a second consecutive timeout. Apparently, it didn't have enough players on the field.
One timeout remaining now with the final 12 minutes and 30
Yeah, they were minus a player.
So if that was the case, again, something you just don't see a team with the discipline and the coaching staff that they have. You don't see that happen often. And to have to burn 2 consecutive timeouts and now leave yourself with just one in a tight ball game, that could be a factor down the road. 2 timeouts in a row called by Hampton. Appeared that they did not have but 10 players on the field. And usually in the 12th game of the season, that's not something that you're going to have happen very often.
You might see that at the first game of the season or whatever. There's a good look at the Hampton side of the field.
Everybody picking up on Ron Baton's shot.
And it looks like Ron's got somebody lined up for the end of the third quarter.
Yes, it does look that way. If we get to the end of the third quarter.
We may have another timeout here.
So we are set to resume action. 2nd down and 12 is where we're at. Taylor, play action, wants to throw. Throwing down to Todd Nolan, and he's got it. Did he lose it? No, they say incomplete. Did not have the ball long enough to call it a completed pass.
Taylor's pass.
He was separated from the ball. It looked like he had it. You just don't usually separate him from the ball.
And I tell you, it looked like to me that Ernest Harvick going down the center of the field was wide open.
Excellent job. Let's give credit where it's due to the defenders. That was Robinson and Reggie Norwood who were defending on the play and broke up that pass. Otherwise, the Crabbers would be in business with a 1st and goal. Instead, it's 3rd down and 12 with perhaps 1 play remaining here in the third quarter. Just 4 seconds. Taylor wants to pass again. Over the middle, wants to go to Harvey. He's got him on the run. Harvey makes the grab and is taken down at the 22-yard line.
What did I just say? The last play, he was wide open going across the middle.
And they found that's where the coaches work in such great concert with each other. Here's your replay as we'll watch the final play of the third period. Just lofted it beautifully. What a nice touch Taylor has on that ball. Sophomore quarterback in high school. Yeah. That is a tough call. All right, let's go down to the sideline, and Ron Baton has some special guests for it here at the end of the third quarter.
And what's Ron? Ron is senior plus.
Pretty old man is what he is.
I asked him, I said, Ron, are you going to get cold? He said, I've got enough clothes and stuff on. I am not going to get cold down here in the sidelines.
Well, I got to tell you something. I don't care how many articles of clothing you have on. That cold will get through you tonight. We're talking the low to mid 40s here. But I'll tell you who doesn't feel the cold right now are the 2 teams that are playing because they
didn't even know it. They don't know what the weather is.
Oh, this is perfect for them. You're not going to get much of a sweat going with this. Just some quick updates on the stats. Taylor 11 of 16 for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's also rushed 18 times for 106 yards in the ballgame. We'll try and give you Aaron Ward stats for the three quarters as well. Crabbers 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line.
And that's McPherson straight ahead.
And for the most part in this ballgame, Bob, McPherson has been held in check.
Well, and he hasn't really run the ball that much, Tim. And as a running back, you got to get in kind of a rhythm. And it's hard to get in the rhythm when you've only had the ball. How many times has he had the ball? Maybe 8?
8 times for 29 yards, so well below his average.
Yeah, and so it's hard for a running back to get in any kind of rhythm.
Ward, on the other hand, 8 of 16 passing, 2 touchdowns, 159 yards. Taylor throws over the middle. It is incomplete. Had to wait for a moment because it looked like perhaps that Reggie Norwood would come up with the deflected pass for an interception, but he was unable to do so.
Well, we had number 11 for the Crabbers.
Here's your replay.
Swan Sneed wide open. and he's in the back end of the end zone, and he is walking.
That ball, look at the ball just out of the hands of Robinson, actually. Donathan Robinson had a chance, but he was going left and the ball was going right.
And it's hard to change directions when you're in midair.
3rd down and 7 for the Crabbers. Ball is at the 19-yard line. Crabbers have to hurry or they'll get another delay of the game penalty. And now Taylor checks off and looks, and a flag comes down. Delay of the game. Back judge called it again. That's the official who's going to call delay. Now he may or may not have gotten a timeout called in time. Let's see how they're going to mark out.
It's the offense.
That's what they did.
Now.
So referee Orr tells us delay against the Crabbers.
I think he tried to draw him offside and was going to signal for a timeout, but it was delay a game before he could do that.
3rd down and a dozen to go for the Crabbers. Certainly in 4-down territory. Again, that reverse to Nolan. Got a good block at the seal, but this time the Phantoms are much more ready for that play than they were the first time, and had great pursuit to the ball.
And Moss caught him from behind.
Only a gain to the 19-yard line, bringing up 4th down and about 7. Here's the replay. This time they got the shift going, but look at the quick reaction by the Phantoms as they were there and tripping up Nolan for a short gain. 4th down and 7. Big 4th down. Crabbers leading by 5. We're in the 4th quarter, 10:40, and the clock is moving. Crabbers burned 2 of their 3 timeouts in the 3rd period.
Big 4th down play.
Taylor almost tripped, pulling away from center, and the ball batted away by Stephon Moss.
Well, he better have, because Harvey was wide open.
Ernest Harvey was right where they had thrown it previously, but Stephon Moss got a hand on it. Watch number 5 in the middle of your screen here. He's going to leap up and bat that ball away, and the ball will go over to Phantoms on downs.
Great call. Wide open receiver, but better defense. Moss just doing a job.
That penalty, by the way, was the 8th penalty for 60 yards for the Crabbers. So the Phantoms take over at their 19-yard line. But more importantly is they prevented another score. This is Dennis Mathis.
The second half of tonight's contest brought to you in part by Parklawn Wood Funeral Home. They're located at Hampton Center Parkway and North Armstead Avenue. For more information, give them a call at 827-4670, where Nancy Staten is the manager.
Was R.B. Staten playing golf with you today?
No, Mr. Staten had to work, so he couldn't play golf. It was just me and Fast Eddie playing today.
I see. Fast Eddie.
Fast Eddie. You got to watch out for Fast Eddie. He can hit that ball.
2nd down and 8 for the Phantoms. This full house crowd is not going anywhere. This game very much in doubt. This is the man who's made this game what it is, Vinson.
That's that slant pattern again coming in.
Brent Vinson has just been phenomenal.
Watch him. If you can watch him from the outside right there, coming in at number 12.
And the Crabber defense has not been able to defend that play effectively since the 1st quarter. The chains are moved. It's a fresh set of downs. The ball marked at the 37-yard line. Phantoms with 9:27 on the clock, and it's moving. They trail by 5 points. This game is the Eastern Regional Championship game. The winner of this game is Moss gets the call for about 3. The winner of this game will travel to the Richmond area for the state semifinals Division 5 Group AAA next Saturday afternoon. I believe the game time is 1 o'clock for that game. We'll be there to cover either the Phoebus Phantoms or the Hampton Crabbers, whichever team advances.
And they'll play either Meadowbrook or Hopewell.
Mark the ball at the 40, 2nd down and 7 to go for the Phantoms. Aaron Ward has just been phenomenal. On the option, pitches it to Mathis. Dennis Mathis has got some yardage. He's out close to first down. Looks like he might be a little shy.
Well,
let's depend on the spot.
Looks like the spot is going to be a little shy, but Ward took a shot. Ward took a shot. Watch this.
Isolate
right here. Boom.
Isolate on Mathis.
Ward took a shot from Childress.
It's going to be third down and about a foot.
We look for a quarterback keeper.
And that's what they do. They keep it on the ground. Ward gets more than enough for the first down.
He just slipped over the right side.
He'll pick up 3 yards in the first down for the Phoebus Phantoms outside their own 48.
So the ball will be marked at the 50-yard line, right at the midfield stripe, and it's a first down for the Phantoms. 8 minutes on the clock, and we're now under 8 minutes. Phantoms have 2 timeouts remaining. The Crabbers have 1. Chris Schwartz comes, excuse me, not 33, but Corey Hayes, rather, was split wide to the near side.
Mathis again on the run, and Tim Phoebus took advantage of a turnover by the Crabbers, and the Crabbers could not cash in on that fumble recovery. Might be the difference in this game. Defense has definitely been the difference in the second half. Both teams making adjustments on defense.
Just 1 score in the second half. That was the 12-yard run by Tyrod Taylor. He has certainly been the difference for the Crabbers in this game, and that score right now is the difference. Phantoms still have plenty of time. Inside handoff on the trap play to Stephon Moss. He's got a first down inside the 40 to about the 37-yard line.
Moss inside the 40 down to the Crabbers 37. On the stop for the Crabbers, number 42 is Army number 120 out.
Here's your replay. Stephon Moss coming in for Elana Lewis and doing a nice job of running the ball that time.
Well, actually, he ran that from the fullback position.
First down. Ball at the 37-yard line of Hampton. 6:55 and the clock is moving. Phantoms with a touchdown will regain the lead. This is Mathis, and Mathis struggles to about the 33-yard line.
Right now, it looks like the Phantoms are winning the line of scrimmage.
Grafton 29, Lafayette 23. Is that correct? 29-23.
Gain on that play of about 4 yards. Second down and 6.
Plus 23, not 27, right? Second down and 6 for the Phantoms at the Crabbers 34.
Ball at the 34-yard line. Ward, swing pass near side to Vincent. He never caught the ball.
And it was a pass and not a lateral.
No, it was just a forward pass by about a yard. So Aaron Vincent, who is just, Brett Vincent rather, who has just been superb catching the ball, couldn't come up with that low pass, and it brings up a crucial third down and 7 for the Phantoms, and it's getting into every play being crucial now as we approach the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter.
Number 21, Samuel Green, was right there to make the tackle. Had he caught the ball.
But a man in motion this time. This is Mathis moving to the far sideline. Fake to the handoff and over the middle in a crowd. That ball almost picked off. That was intended for Matt Wright, but he was well covered. There were 3 Crabbers around Matt Wright.
We got that. That was a dangerous pass.
That was.
If you're a Phantom.
Really. And now we're looking at 4th down for the Phantoms.
And they're going to take a timeout and talk about it.
Here's the replay of that last action. I'll see it from the ground level here. Don't know if you'll see, but there's a crowd of
Harvey
Crabbers.
is one of them.
More Crabbers were closer to the ball than there were Phantom receivers, that's for sure. So the potentially pivotal game play here. It's 4th down and 7. 6:05 on the clock. Still plenty of time, but the Phantoms, if they give this ball up on downs, the Crabbers will have a good opportunity to run the clock down some. If they can get the first down, they're still in the ball game to go for the touchdown. So A field goal will do them no good. Chris Schwartz has been phenomenal this year kicking the ball for the Phantoms, but they're down by 5, so the field goal is not something that they're even thinking about right now. And this would be a huge, long field goal attempt.
Oh, yeah, at this point, he's kicking from...
It'd be a 52-yarder.
Yeah, at least 50 yards, and that is not an option.
Well, it just doesn't do that much good. You've got to go for the first down here, if not the touchdown, but you certainly have to get the first down. The crowds on both sides of the stands up on their feet and yelling.
Got a double tight end in.
See if the Phantoms try for the hard count. No, they just snapped the ball. Ward rolling, looking. Got Vincent open at the goal line. Instead, he throws long, and it's going to be intercepted. And that interception by Jeremy Kroom. So that's really just as good as a punt in the long run.
Well, and not only that, had he not intercepted it, they would have got the ball back up at about the 45. But that'll incite the defense and make the offense even better when you do something like that.
Ward had Vincent open. I looked downfield.
Yeah, he just overthrew him.
Well, he just waited too long. That's Vincent that was in the end zone by the time he did throw the ball. And Kroom came up with the interception. And
Vincent comes down and makes the tackle.
Yeah, they lost about 3 yards in the return. So they would have had it on fourth down. It would have gone over to them at the 35. They got it at the 30. And like you said, sometimes that defense gets the adrenaline going, and the interception could be a big boost to the Crabbers here. So they've got the ball in a 5-point lead. Inside handoff to Ernest Harvey, who gets little or nothing, might have gotten a yard. But more importantly, from the Crabbers' point of view, is the clock is moving now.
Well, and what the Crabbers need to do, and they need to pick up a couple first downs. If they do, they can run this clock out. Phantoms have got, 2 timeouts left?
One. They burned one a moment ago prior to that play. So each team now with 1 timeout remaining.
So, they need somebody to step up and do some blocking and open up some holes and pick up some yardage so they can pick up the first down. Phoebus, on the other hand, need to stop them. Make them punt the ball.
You got to stop them. They have to stop them quickly.
33. Lansdowne, 40. Oscar Smith, 33.
Taylor dragged out, got away from a would-be tackler, has one man to get around. He does. And Taylor does a terrific job of getting the ball out close to a first down.
He was stopped for about a 6-yard loss.
He ends up getting 8 yards, and he's slow to get up. May have to have his uniform reestablished on his body.
That was number 25.
That had a shoulder pad sticking out there. So Taylor gets his uniform put back in some semblance of order. The ball is just short of the 40. They need to get to the 41. So it's a third down and a long yard for the Crabbers.
Well, I look for him to go straight ahead. Maybe go right off of your right guard and tackle over there off of. And that's what they do.
Stacked up the line, but it didn't prevent the Crabbers from getting the first down as Taylor just took it, went over his left side, and got the first down.
I was expecting him to go over Dominic White, and he went to the other side.
So a first down for the Crabbers comes with 4:09 remaining in the fourth quarter. They lead by 5 points, and they have a fresh set of downs, and the Phantoms, with just 1 timeout remaining, have to rely on the defense.
He went over Tim Richardson that time.
Sometimes, Bob, we're looking for something to talk about, like a player of the game. I haven't even had a chance to give a great deal of consideration.
I've got some people I'm thinking about.
Oh, there's a ton of them for each squad. So we might let some flag down on the play. This is Taylor keeping it. And did he stay in bounds? Yes, he did.
But there must be a movement in the backfield by the Hampton
That's
Crabbers.
What the call is. That'll stop the clock, and the penalty will be assessed to the Crabbers.
Captain. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
James Orr says, Captain, oops, he's standing right next to him.
You want me to get in your pocket? Or what?
That was funny.
Number 7, Dominic Anderson.
I tell you got to be thinking
20 carries for Taylor now, 118 yards on the night, rushing the ball for Taylor. Well,
at this point,
they took away McPherson and they gave Taylor the ball.
At this point, this is who I'm going with.
Yeah, so I don't think there's much question there. That works. We'll give you the players of the game, though, because there's a lot of things to still be decided here. First down and 15 to go for the Crabbers. Taylor still keeps the ball, so this seems to be the, oh my gracious, was his head almost torn off? And a late flag comes in, a couple of flags.
And I think that was going to be face mask, and that was a tough face mask.
I want to tell you, I hope Taylor still got his head attached after that one.
His helmet's got to be turned around.
Mercy.
And this is not a...
Oh, my gracious.
That's what they're called. Face masking.
That'll be a 15-yarder. That should be a 30-yarder after that. I'm just glad to see Taylor's not hurt.
What's the foul? Face mask. 15-yard penalty. First down.
There wasn't much doubt about that. 3 flags came in on that call, and again, more importantly, I'm just glad to see Taylor is not in the hospital after that call.
Well, that's one of those face masks that you don't try to do. You're trying to make the tackle.
Yeah, you
get a hold of it, and you can't let go.
Right. No, I'm sure there was no malice intended. It's just it was a very, very severe face mask call. And now the Crabbers got to burn their final timeout. Apparently did not have the proper alignment of players, may not have had 11 on the field. So that is their last timeout.
Well, they don't really want to stop the clock.
Ladies and gentlemen, immediately following our game, we will...
So we're going to show you we're going to replay that face mask call and let you see this as slowly as we can do it. He's got the face mask, and one player kind of blocked our vision a little bit there.
He grabbed it.
Take my word for it. That was your classic handful of face mask. So the crowd that is not really rustled much, this full house tonight at Darling Stadium, and we're so glad to see the kind of support that this game deserved.
Absolutely.
Are just now starting to consider headed towards the exits. But you know what? There's still 2:51 to play. If I'd sat here for 3 hours, I would have decided to hang in there for another 2:51.
I would too, because anything can happen.
2.5 hours.
Phoebus can stop the clock one time with a timeout.
Well, you got a fumble and intercept. You got a dozen things that can happen. Taylor appears to be going to be a simple fake handoff and keep the ball, make sure that he gets some positive yardage and doesn't risk a fumble on a handoff. Or certainly the last thing they want to do right now is pass the ball and cause a stoppage of the clock. Now, there is one timeout remaining for the Phantoms. Well, there's second down and 5.
Well, Hampton wants to take as much time off the clock as they can, but they can't afford to get a 5-yard penalty either. He blew the whistle at 2:31.
And the clock is now showing 2:11. So it's rapidly approaching. They have 25 seconds to get the play away. And Taylor was smothered after the snap. No gain. So now if you're Phoebus, it's third down and you're inside of 2 minutes to go. Do you burn your timeout yet?
Well, I don't know, Tim. That was Colby Walker on the stop that time.
He smothered Taylor. Taylor never had a chance.
He plays a defensive end, but he was there when Taylor made a move.
Crabbers have no timeouts remaining, so they cannot call a timeout here if it gets close to being too much time. They have used all their timeouts.
Well, if they can get a first down here, they can pretty well lock it up. But we're talking 6-7 yards, and they may go.
Taylor on the keeper again, and he will be very close to the first down, depending on the mark. If they give him that spot, that's the first down, I believe.
Well, he put up his fist as a fourth down, so I'm not sure.
I would, if I'm Hampton, I'm going to say that's the first down. They're going to measure this one. This is too important not to measure.
And Phantoms are going to take a timeout.
No, I think they're going to actually measure.
Okay.
Ball is marked clearly on the 33, and that's right where the yard marker is. So I'm assuming, they're going to.
Where the ball's sitting on the mark, and look at the mark over there. He's got a first down.
That ball is so close. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Bob. I'm going to tell you that he made it by 1 inch. if he made it at all. That's that close. 1 inch. If he made it, the marker on the far side is misleading, and that's why I'm not so sure. He made it by an inch. If he made it at all. This is the play of the game here, folks. Stretch the chain. He got it by 1 inch.
You're right. I'm in awe of you. I am in awe. Whoa. What do you got somebody on the field? What?
The GPS is working. What can I tell you?
Something is working.
So that is a crucial first down.
Lansdowne 40, Oscar Smith 39. 1 minute to go.
So the Phantoms will burn their final timeout. So neither team has a timeout remaining. We have 1:16 to go. But, you know, right now that's really not that important because if you're Hampton, you could take a knee.
So, you don't have
for
to
3
run
plays
a play.
and
you can
burn the 6.
take a knee. You're absolutely correct.
And I'm sure what they're doing is they're making sure everyone understands the importance of holding onto that ball, making sure the snap is good, make sure if you're going to do anything at all, you're going to have 25 seconds. That's what is that? It's 50. That's it. You got a minute 16. You've got 60. You got 76 seconds to work with. And 75 seconds can be run off with 3 25-second play clocks.
Right.
And, of course, the play clock doesn't start until they reset the ball after the ball is snapped. So.
Now, and of course, we have Phoebus can't stop at one time. And
no, they just used their last timeout.
Oh, I thought they used the timeout to measure.
It
was what they call. Did they call it?
They call it timeout right
okay.
after. Yeah. So let's talk about our players of the game, Bob. And
I tell you, you got to go with Tyrod Taylor for the Crabbers.
There's no question, and certainly he had great support from McPherson. Nolan was, as usual, great. Dominic White was terrific. Harvey made some great catches. Yes, Tyrod Taylor will be our Hampton player of the game. On the other side, Brent Vinson, someone who you might not have imagined would have a key role in this game, but with the fact that Elon Lewis went out early in the game, Vincent has come on to make some great catches. Brent Vincent and Aaron Ward. We can go down a whole list.
Yeah.
Aaron Ward, you got Stephon Moss has played huge. Stephen Friday, Devontae Lindsay, Reggie Norwood, Matt Wright came up with some great plays. Phantoms will lose this game, but through no lack of effort, they lost their premier running back and still made a game out of this. And I take my hat off to both teams. What a terrific game.
Tyrod Taylor again takes the snap. He'll touch a knee to the ground. Moss is back to the.
So that's really just going to be a matter of taking a knee. They're going to lose a couple of yards, and they could care less because it's all about what the final score will be.
It's all about who gets to play next week.
That's right. And the Hampton Crabbers now take one more knee, and the season will end for the Phoebus Phantoms. Unfortunately for the Phantoms, they could not bring their full arsenal to the game tonight because of the early game injury to Elon Lewis. But that's football. You play with injuries. You play the game regardless, and sometimes you have these things happen. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But boy, did the Phantoms not give up. They fought their heart out.
Give up.
They
played as hard as a team can play when you're missing your main ingredient. That's like trying to make an apple pie and don't have any apples.
Well, it's just a terrific ball game, and the Phoebus Phantoms will end their season with a 9-3 overall record, and Elon Lewis will finish his high school career on certainly not the note he had wished for, but you certainly can't take anything away from both teams' effort tonight. The Phantoms could have folded their 10 earlier, like I said. I don't mean to be redundant, but they chose to fight tooth and nail to the very end, and that's how they played the game, and you would have expected nothing less. Give credit to the Hampton Crabbers. They came out fast and furious, and they lost momentum, but they got it back when they needed to have it and had the big plays and played as champions do. They moved to 12-0, and they moved to the state semifinals next Saturday afternoon against an opponent to be determined. You can read the Daily Press. They'll tell you all about it.
And they just gave Mike Smith a bath.
Yeah. And that's just on a night like this, you want to get home real quickly and get some warm towels around you.
Wow, what a game. What a game.
Terrific game. Our players of the game, Tyrod Taylor from Hampton, Brent Vinson from Phoebus. Our sponsors tonight, I want to thank our sponsors. Our game brought to you tonight by, as you see, Mike Smith with meeting Bill D at the center of the field. Great sportsmanship by these two terrific coaches. Zooms with 14 convenient locations to serve you. And the game brought to you in part by Park Lawn Wood Funeral Home, where Nancy Staten is the manager. So that's going to do it for us. What a phenomenal season these two teams have had to date. Phoebus' season is concluded with a 26-21 loss to the Hampton Crabbers. Hampton avenges a loss last year to the same as Phoebus Phantoms to knock them out. That's going to do it for us. The final score is Hampton 26, Phoebus 21. For Bob Killen, Mike Hauser, and Bob Hitz, this is Tim Cole.
Good night,
Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.